thefan.com.
You better watch who you're talking about.
The inaugural Big Ten season for Oregon comes down to this.
What we've created so far this season is really special, but obviously there's still some things ahead of us.
This is Primetime on Big Ten Championship Week.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Whittington stays on his feet. Touchdown, Oregon.
Primetime with Isaac and Suk on the Odyssey app and 1080.
You're making me uncomfortable.
The Fan.
Hey, what to do? Screwed me up there.
Yeah, I was going to say, what
there was
were
a
you
little.
doing there?
Wasn't there a glitch in the open there?
Might have been a James Franklin.
What was that about?
There's no glitch.
What was that?
I produced that. There's no glitch there.
I think there was.
Bucky's taking that personally.
You're damn right.
It threw me off.
Spent
my
extra
game.
time on this imaging here.
You can't be throwing your hosts off the
Yeah,
game.
kind of had a weird.
It was like
It's like you were in real.
The volume came up too quickly after the final soundbite, maybe.
Maybe I didn't.
There was no glitch.
It didn't. It didn't sound. I thought it was done, and then there was another.
You peeing in the man's Cheerios, saying there's a glitch, thinking he's Swigard over there.
I want that. I want that redone.
Yeah.
By Swigard.
Fat chance. By Swigard maybe. By me no.
You want a glitch? Everyone knows the Swigard edit, but yeah, he's busy. He's got like 9 jobs. Doesn't have time to edit things.
Yeah, Swag is the king of the bad edit.
Here's the situation.
It's the quick edit. You know, it's like we got things to do. Swag's a very, very busy man, and he will let you know with
What are we supposed to be, professional?
many, many sighs.
A lot of guys like that around here these days.
A lot of sighs.
Hold on,
A lot of
everybody.
anxiety, a lot of sighs, a lot of tension.
The holidays coming up.
Yeah, I always find the holidays, and this is where I'll get like, everyone will tell me to shut up. But I find the
Hey,
holidays to
shut
be
up.
very relaxing and like calming, and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be in a good mood. But then there's the whole other side of it where like, old Krampus comes out and people get all on edge, and you don't have to like.
Not me, fella.
Exactly. I finally got around to put up my lights today.
Yeah,
and
you did.
I was feeling good.
What color?
I got new ones last year. I did the candy canes, reds and whites.
Oh, nice.
I used to be the twinkle multicolor light
Mhm.
and the small ones.
Mhm.
And all my neighbors, all the olds, almost exclusively go with either the solid one color or the 2 color of the big bulbs. And I was like, you know what? I like what they're doing. And so yeah, I switched over.
So do you match now? You guys, are you a matching neighborhood?
Yeah, I would say that there is a theme and a style, except for one house that's got dragons. They love dragons, and they just do different dragons for the different holidays. So there's a 4th of July dragon, there's a Halloween dragon, there's a Christmas dragon. I didn't know you could get like different dragons, and they're not like small. They get like these. I'd probably say they're like 15-foot inflatable dragons.
Yeah,
And
we have a
then
house.
They're dressed up in different holiday decor.
We have a house nearby that loves all things Tim Burton, specifically Nightmare Before Christmas. And
Yeah.
so the giant inflatable
Jack
character
Skellington?
from that, like Skellington, pops up around Halloween, and then they just convert it to a Christmassy scene after that, and it kind of stays up all the time.
Yeah, yeah. The dragon is ever present. What I appreciate is after the holidays, it's just a dragon. There's no.
But at the holidays, it's a Christmas dragon.
It's Christmas dragon.
And it's a turkey dragon.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a bunny dragon.
Yes.
And
It's like when I had the werewolf that became the Christmas werewolf, and then
Yeah.
stayed up till it's March, and there's still a werewolf.
And it's kind of a weird house to begin with because it's a nice house, and it's big, but it's kind of fallen into a little bit of disrepair. You can tell an older couple lives there, and they just don't have the ability to keep it up. But I'll tell you what they can keep up: the damn dragon, 12 months out of the year. But for the rest of us, yeah, I think because I live with the olds, the light setups are simple and kind of traditional and classic, and there's not a lot of branching out. And so I feel like it's better to fit in and not rock the boat with the olds. Just it works.
not rock the bulb boat.
Yeah, I don't want to rock the bulb. And plus, I do. I think it looks good.
Well, yeah, I do too. We had this debate the other day because we were putting up our tree, and I think that people have hot takes about lighting. In that, do you like the all white?
Yeah.
Do you like your tree to be kind of matching
Caitlin Clark is white.
and bougie? You know,
Yeah.
like real like magazine-y?
Or like homemade sort of
Or
ornaments.
do you like it to be all colors
No.
and mismatched ornaments because that's tacky, and the tackier the better?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you like? And then, I don't know. I think everybody's different.
Well, there was
But I like what I was going to say is I like the neighborhoods that all match
Yeah.
on the outside.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It looks good.
It looks good,
Yeah.
and it shows that maybe there is some sort of community there.
Like a unity sort of thing.
That, like people are in it together, and that's nice to see.
I like it. Yeah, it makes me feel good.
Although it also probably means their next door app is obnoxious because they're all up in each other's business.
I'm terrified to go on the Nextdoor app
Or their HOA meetings are a nightmare.
Well, I feel like I am on the I'm the topic of discussion on that app way too much, and I don't want to know. It's like, why would you seek out?
Do other people know and tell you? Like, does BTJ hop on there and let you know that they're talking about you?
No.
I bet she's on there.
And she's probably talking about me too. Like, hey, you believe this ass? Like,
You believe what I have to live with? I'm just as
oh,
bad as you guys are.
Oh, she tells everyone that. I get a lot. Her friends get that a lot. You see what I put up with? It's usually after she's done hitting me. I was like, why do you make me do that? This is what I have to put up with. But I don't understand seeking out like negative views. Like if you're posting something on Instagram and you know that the backlash is coming, why post it? I will not understand that. So me going on the Nextdoor app, nothing, I promise you, there's nothing on there where it's like, hey, that young man, and I'm not young, for God's sakes, but the young man on the corner, that's not happening. It's gonna be something. It's just not gonna be good. So I choose to not participate and just pretend that there's a lot of goodwill. Maybe someone out there is like, hey, he finally got around and now he has matching lights to the rest of us.
It took me all of a week to figure out that Nextdoor was not for me.
No.
And it was less bitching about other people. It was just more of like, wow, like people are really watching for things.
And
like,
a lot of people have so much time on their hands.
Yes. Like they see everything and it's like, hey, did you see the ambulance? Well, no, I was working. Well, like it's just that. It's just nosy. They're more nosy than they are critical.
Sure.
It's just
I noticed for the third time this
Yeah.
month, there's been some sort of law enforcement or first
Yes.
responder at this house down the street.
I've noticed some lady in our neighborhood literally walked or was driving her little minivan by me, and she rolled down the window. She says, "I noticed you walk your dog a lot."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, that's weird, but okay, thanks."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Would you ever consider stopping by my house and taking my dogs?" And
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's
I was
something
like,
that
no.
happens to me.
you know, since you're already doing
I
it.
love it.
Yeah, I was like, no, I
No.
I don't have the time. I'm sorry.
See, that's you.
But you can just swing by.
That's you being a bad neighbor.
And so I'm sure that on Nextdoor, she's like, "Oh, that guy walks his dog all the time. I wonder if you should ask him." Get me out of there. Get me out of the chat.
Well, and I will say that the deaths and the strokes, which are commonplace in my neighborhood, those do get passed around because the gossip does there. That's you don't need an app for that. Word gets around. In fact, we lost another one, like I would say maybe a month ago.
Another what?
Another person. Yeah, that went down.
Another old.
Dead.
Yeah, like it's not, and like people think I'm joking, dude. The amount of deaths that occur in my neighborhood, we get at least one a month, and we get like a medical incident. I'd say 5 out of the 7 days that I'm walking my dog, I walk by a fire truck or an ambulance. And by the way, not a fire truck or ambulance driving by me. No, just positioned at the place. And the best part is sometimes you can see them taking the people out. They know each other. This is not their first rodeo. They're like calling the people by name, and everyone's just kind of like, here we are again. And it just kind of comes with the territory.
You should get like a frequent punch card.
I think so.
Like 10 trips to the neighborhood. The 11th one, whoever goes down the 11th thing,
Yeah.
it's free.
Well, my favorite one, and I told a story, I would say it was maybe 2-3 years ago, is there was an old lady sitting out on a couch. Like, you put the free couch out on the curb for anyone to take. There was this old lady and she was sitting on one of the free couches. And as I walked by and then I came back the other way, she was still there and kind of looked a little, I was like, hey, can I help you? And she goes, oh no, just waiting for the ambulance. And then I was like, oh crap. Like, do you need me to, no, I called and they're on their way. And I was like,
thank you.
You've been out here for like 20 minutes. And she goes, no, they know me. And sure enough, then here comes the fire truck pulled up and they knew her and they just casually got her up on the gurney and, got the ambulance there. And I love that she went outside, sat down on a couch that was being given away, not by her, by the way, and then just patiently waited for the fire truck and the ambulance to come get her.
Resourceful little bitch.
Yeah.
God, Buck.
That's when I learned, dude, my neighborhood's fantastic.
Why do they bring the fire truck? Why not just the paramedics?
I don't know, but I will tell you that it's usually an ambulance / fire truck.
Yeah, I know, but I don't understand why they bring the fire guys.
I think the fire guys, maybe their paramedics are better trained than the ambulance people.
emojis.
Maybe they have more. I don't know. But they're the ones that usually load the people up.
Surely a listener can answer that question.
Yeah. But very rarely do we get one without the other. It's usually the combo. That's
Yesterday, my neighbor who has the ambulance there maybe twice a week,
there.
it was only the ambulance, and they were blocking the driveway. And this was a weird conundrum. What do you do when you come out of your house to get in the car and go to work? It was about 2:30.
Ambulance.
And there's an ambulance blocking you in. I mean, I can't go knock on, like, I want to be sensitive to the situation. I don't know what's going on with the neighbors. They're obviously, they're older. They've had some health
Things
problems.
happening.
So something's going on, but it does not seem frantic or there's no fire truck and there's no sirens. So I'm thinking, okay,
Can you guys take a minute to move your rig? Or?
Yeah, right. Like, I don't want to be that guy. But then I was like, I got to go to work. Like, am I going to have to Uber to work? Do I have time to call an Uber? What do I do? And so I was kind of poking my head, like, looking in the window. I mean, not like peering into the windows, but
Hey, could you?
seeing if somebody was in there. And there was someone in there. I couldn't see him, but apparently there was a guy in there. Yeah. And he I think put two and two together, and he came out and he moved the ambulance for me.
Well, I will tell you that you can always tell the seriousness of the situation.
And then I rammed him as I left.
You gave him a little. How's your father? A little elbow on your way
let's not be
out.
doing that again, huh?
Rammed him with your Subaru. You can always tell how serious the situation is by the number of people that are gathered. So
yeah, I think that's right.
I've learned that by experience. If there's one or two neighbors out, it's usually if there's no neighbors out, then it's nothing. One or two, maybe you got something. You get half a dozen out there, something went down. And if you get more than 10, unfortunately, we think we know that the estate sale is coming. And that's when the word spreads and, just I don't know how the word spreads to that many people so quickly, but they do assemble. They're like the Avengers.
Well, it's like the Nextdoor app.
Yeah,
they're watching. Everybody's watching, man.
They just pull up.
They don't have anything else to do.
People are saying the firefighters respond when the ambulance is busy, and then once the ambulance is able to get there.
Oh, okay.
That's according to Chicago Fire. This guy watches TV.
So he's an expert. Well, somebody said, yeah, like ambulances are EMT and transport firefighters or paramedics. They carry different drugs. Is that true? And can I ask a really dumb question, or perhaps a poignant one?
Yeah.
What
difference
is it?
between paramedics and EMT?
Yes. What's the difference?
I think the firefighters are better trained.
Yeah, so they carry, like he said, they carry different drugs. Like they can do more?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why then?
Which is surprising because
it
wouldn't you
should
think
be
that
the other way.
the medical experts would have the heaviest hitting stuff?
It should be the other way around.
You'd think.
I think the only thing when the ambulance is just there to try to keep you alive to get you to the hospital. I
Right.
think the firefighters
are more like
I think they're a little more
specialized. Like
they're a
they
little
Well,
know.
I feel like the
robust.
ambulance people should be at least as well versed as the firefighters.
I'll tell you what, man, because
I
that was the
agree.
road I was going to go down before I started whatever the hell this is. And dude, that's a rough. That doesn't pay very much. I
You
mean,
chose well.
we've talked about this. The paramedic jobs, that is a rough
Well, they're having a hard time finding them, aren't they?
rough gig. Yeah. Well, it doesn't pay much, and it's a thankless job, and it's crappy hours, and it's just it's not
You
good.
probably see some stuff.
I'll just tell you, man, that is not the best of it's not the best of the best that the medical world has to offer. It's kind of like public defenders. Like they're doing yeoman's work, and God bless that they're out there. But I think you struggle to find people consistently that want to do that.
Do you think it would have been okay if I hopped in the ambulance and just backed her up?
Just moved it yourself.
Hey, I know you guys are busy in there. I'm just going.
Don't worry, I got it. It
Oh.
beeps, right? It
Yeah,
beeps.
beep.
I'm gonna move this thing about
Beep.
10 feet down. We're gonna be
Beep.
fine. Yeah, we're all right.
Turns out they were in there. Hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I got to work on time. That's the most important thing.
Right now we're getting not accurate. AMR has paramedics
What?
and EMTs on the ambulance.
Okay, so then why then the fire engine?
Firefighters are also paramedics, but in a lot of counties like Clackamas and Multnomah, they do not transport. I don't know. Yeah, because I know some a lot of the fire engines do not transport.
Yeah. Yeah, you transport via ambulance.
But some fire departments do have ambulances.
Right.
Look, I think the bottom line is,
But why
no-
the fire truck? Like, I get it that a fire department has an ambulance, but why also the fire truck? There's no fire.
It just happens to be the vehicle they're out in.
Maybe they're just bored. They're like, hey, we'll go with you.
People will dig it if we bring the big rig.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be something cool.
Well, because they're the ones that show up to like the bad stuff, like the bad
Who?
car wrecks and the firefighters. They got
Firefighters,
like
yeah.
the jaws of life, and
Yeah.
there's usually some strapping lad on there that's handsome, Then all the neighbors have to come out and stare at. It's you got calendars, and it's a whole thing.
Man, everybody's got hot takes on this.
Our listeners are all over it in a lot of different ways.
Every part of the country has a different flow chart of how calls get triaged. All firefighters in this area are EMTs, but not all firefighters are paramedics.
It's like whiskey and scotch and bourbon. Yeah, man. We've gone down a rabbit hole again. Good luck figuring
Someone else
it
says I've had to call a few times. Firefighters respond first and stabilize. The ambulance then takes over to transport.
Okay. What happens if there's a fire?
You got to leave. They like leave
Would
one.
they just drop you on the floor? Sorry, got to go. There's a
Maybe
fire.
they leave one behind. He's like, hey, you've got this, and then everyone else goes out. And I'm guessing there's a lot more medical emergencies than there are, 4-alarm fires.
Does Dalmatian go with them still?
Boy, I don't think Dalmatians are good dogs.
Is that a thing?
No, I don't think that's still a thing. Maybe a nice border collie.
Well, there's your first seggy.
Yeah, there you go. Everything you wanted to know, but we couldn't really tell you about firefighters and paramedics.
Started with Christmas lights, ended with EMTs.
That's how we do it, man.
Own fire
That's right.
emojis.
Thank you. All right, well, Dan Lanning is on today.
Yeah,
We didn't think we'd get him.
now we got him.
He wants to talk to us.
Big Ten title. I think we made him feel bad the other day when we said he didn't want to talk to us.
What an opportunity.
It is an opportunity.
It is Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't mind talking to y'all.
Thank you. We will talk about none other than Penn State.
Yeah.
As he is preparing for Penn State.
And maybe the recruiting class. I mean, although he probably won't mention anybody. He doesn't like to talk about individual players.
All I want to ask him about recruiting is if he had the Opus X
Yeah.
cigar.
Yeah. How many of those do you got? You got
Yeah.
the humidor out
Does
there?
he have? Yeah, exactly.
And
Lots
can
of
I-
questions.
And can I get one?
Well, it's not about you. He's not going to give you a cigar.
It's worth
What-
asking.
What'd
I
you
think
do?
he would give me a cigar.
Well, you're not down there. What do you think? He's going to mail you a cigar?
I think if I went down there, I think he'd give me a cigar.
What is? But you're not going
Open
down there.
invite to smoke one down with Dan.
You don't know.
Hmm.
You don't know. I have
I'd
never
like
met-
to see you try that.
I've never met him in person.
I
You
want
know what?
you.
I'm going to cook on your grill.
I want you to invite yourself down to have a cigar with him.
Done and done.
Okay. See what he says.
Bring
It's going to
some-
be awkward.
I'll bring some Blantons. Or no, he's a tequila guy, isn't he?
Yeah. he
Said
likes-
mezcal.
Mezcal. Interesting.
I'm getting into mezcal.
Can't do it.
Love the smoke.
Don't like it. I do like smoky scotch though.
All right. Let's get to going. Dan Lanning, 4 o'clock. Poll question next on the Fan.
A playoff free-for-all.
Howard, here comes.
is here.
On 1080 The Fan.
All right, let's pull it out. You want to pull it out?
You know how I feel.
See what I did there?
You know how I feel about the polls.
The poll questions on X at 1080 The Fan. Every day. Well, not Saturdays and Sundays. Are you always amazed at the people that think we work every day of the week?
I'm more amazed at the people that think that this isn't like my job. I get more of that.
Yeah. But don't you think?
Oh, this is like a side gig for you?
I do get that. You guys don't work just Monday through Friday. I'm like, yeah, dude, we don't work on the weekends. And then I get more of, well, is that all you do? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like it's my job. And they're like, really?
What?
And they feel bad. Like they're like, do you need some they'll ask if I need like handiwork, like you want me to come fix your gutters? I'm like, no, I'm all right.
Yeah, I get a lot that's like, why aren't you on Saturday? I was listening. I tuned in. Well, it's Saturday. It's a weekend.
Yeah, but like there's football and stuff on, right?
Yes. Not us.
Yeah, we get that.
Another one. How about this guy? We got another guy here. Before we get to the poll. Hey, I've got an extra ticket and cigars. Just need the fan man to get us on the sideline.
Yeah, you're missing kind of the.
How about that?
Yeah, I promise we can get down there.
I think Suk can get tickets, cigars, and on the sideline.
So that guy read your comments that you want to have a cigar with Dan Lanning as you need to get into you have no way to get into the Ducks games.
No.
And
Nor could you find cigars.
And you couldn't find a cigar. You need cigars to go to the Ducks games. The only thing he asks in return is that we put him on the sideline because Fan Man is the one that can do that because he's already out there. Wow.
Well, I've been down to, I think, 4 games since Lanning's been there. And each time that I go down, I'm on the sidelines and I tell myself I'm going to go talk to Dan Lanning. And I get there early enough to where I feel like if I get him before like the game gets close, that's the time to just go out and be like, hey, enjoy talking to you every week. And, just face to face. And every time he goes out there, he's so damn intense. It's like 2 hours before kick and he just has a leave me the hell alone vibe. And I respect it. And so each time I'm like, I can't. So I really, it's got to be in the off season. I just don't want to, I can't be the one to bother him before a game. Either that or I got to go down like at the worst game of the year. I got to go down like when they're playing, Tallahassee JUCO in week 1. I need something like that. Can't go down for the big games and bother him. He's very intense.
You have a responsibility to your audience to be more responsible.
Anyway,
or this guy can get me down there.
Yeah, but he's got a cigar for you.
Yeah.
So he's gonna give you a cigar.
I appreciate it.
And a ticket.
Thank you.
But he needs you to get him on the sideline.
No, he needs Fan Man to get him on the sideline.
Well, right, because you can't.
No, I got to talk to Dusty.
Yesterday's poll question: which is most likely? Kingsbury to the Bears, Jimbo to West Virginia, Ryan Day fired, or Belichick to the Jets?
See, Belichick apparently wants the North Carolina job now.
Belichick to the Tar Heels.
So Bill wants any job at this point because Bill knows he ain't getting one.
The winner of that was Kingsbury to the Bears, 43%. Yeah. Seems to make some sense with Caleb Williams and everything.
Have a nice run, although I don't think it's solely based on the Kingsbury flop, which we've seen in the second half. But the Commanders' offense, the first 7 weeks was like gangbusters, and since then,
screeching halt.
It's just. Last week was a nice bounce back. I think it was against the Titans, but yeah, it's just keep an eye on that. Cliff hasn't had great second halves, and Bo Nix climbing up that rookie of the year ladder real fast.
Ryan Day fired 30%, Jimbo to West Virginia 19%, and 8% said Belichick to the Jets. Today's poll question, it's up there for you on X at 1080 The Fan. How confident are you Oregon wins the Big Ten championship? Very confident. Somewhat confident. Kind of worried.
God,
Bro.
I don't. I like my fence sitting, but you're not going to give it to me. So
never do.
I would say confident, but you didn't give me an option of confident.
I said very confident.
I'm not. I don't like that.
I'm very confident.
Yeah.
And I don't like.
Well, then don't vote for it.
I like just confident, but you didn't give me that option.
No, so you're only somewhat confident. That means if you're not
confident.
very confident, you're somewhat confident.
No, I'm very confident.
Oh, you're very. So you're going to go with very.
We
got you off the fence.
Well, again. I don't know why you can't just have confident. Why do I have to be somewhat or very? Why can't I just be confident?
Because that's fence sitting.
Then I'm very. That's
and you're
not
a classic fence sitter.
I'm a fence sitter.
And we have courage here.
I like
freaking
a good fence
punch
sitter.
it,
I like
bitch.
a good bench sit. Can I just say I like
I'm very
sitting?
confident.
Big
Yeah.
fan of it. No, I'm very confident. I think Oregon is better than Penn State. I don't necessarily love the way Oregon has been playing the last couple weeks. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's their best. But at their best and at Penn State's best, I have no doubt that Oregon's best is better than Penn State's. And in a matchup that I think it's close. I don't think it's a 3-point game on a neutral field. I think Oregon is 6 points better than Penn State. And I think there's some areas that I could point to that I say I'm intrigued by the matchup with Penn State, but ultimately I think Oregon is more talented across the board. I think they're deeper, and the biggest one is I just think quarterback play. I think Dylan Gabriel is superior, and I really don't think it's close to Drew Aller. And Drew Aller, in his 2 years as the Penn State quarterback, has never really delivered in a big moment. Now, if you want to go down the Minnesota game and the 4th down conversions, do you consider Minnesota? I mean, I guess they had to win that in order to get to the Big Ten title game. But in the games that we would say truly matter, when they play Ohio State, right? When we're playing for a conference championship, even in this year when the games they've won, his numbers are just never fantastic. And I think just Dylan Gabriel to me is the difference in this game. If you say you like both defenses, right? You like both O-lines, their tight end is better. Our receivers are better. You can go through and kind of, pick out where you like. Ultimately, what's the biggest position in all of football? I don't care what level you're playing.
Kicker.
Hey, you got a good one. I don't know what
Does Penn State have a good kicker?
No, I can't say that I've dug deep into Penn State's
I feel like they're a
kicking
school
game.
that typically does have a good kicker.
Let's go with that. Let's just randomly say.
I bet they do.
We'll ask Dan Lanning.
Ryan Barker is their current kicker. He is a former walk-on.
Oh, he sucks.
You
know what he is for the year?
Let's see. I'm trying to find more.
We got the old Sappington.
Well, you know what? Looks like Google AI is boning me again.
Oh,
this isn't happening.
I got you here. I got you. He's 11 for 13.
Well,
His long is 49.
but I think it's the wrong guy. I think we're actually looking at Sander Sahayadak.
Say that again, please.
No. Sander Sahayadak?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what's his?
He's number 93, and he is the kicker on their website.
93?
I'll tell you right now,
Redshirt junior
I don't like him already.
from
93.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Nah. I can't take a 93 kicker seriously.
He is, let's see, season stats.
Can't take him.
This is hot.
Oh, he's only kicked in 4 games this season.
Look.
Wow.
It was a rhetorical question. We all know the most important position in football at any level is
2 for
quarterback.
5. Long of 43. Where'd the other guy go?
Ow.
Oh.
Dylan Gabriel, Drew Aller. No one is picking Drew Aller. Therefore, I can say I feel very confident Oregon is the Big Ten champs.
Okay.
I'm very confident.
Yeah. That's George Kliavkov. What a classic
God
drop.
And wasn't that in response to them finding a way forward and getting a deal for the Pac-12?
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
He is very confident.
Right
I've been
now,
the most confident I've ever been, and this says something. The most confident I've ever been on this show was the tape measure.
oh yeah,
I was just,
and you were wrong.
I was digging in some heels. And the worst part is as soon as Mike Lynch was on my side, I was like, Rob's an idiot. Dude, I was just.
Well, that is
What an idiot.
These guys thought it was
The
tape measurer.
Yeah. I gotta get my
And
tape
I'm like,
measure.
guys, it's a tape measure. Why are you adding an additional ER?
Because it measures. It's a measurer.
Tape measurer.
Yeah. Tape measure just sounded dumb. I was like, no, it's a tape measure. And I was willing to dig in my heels, and I was confident. And
Well,
boy,
there you have it. Penn State wins.
it's not good. So that's why I said I'm not very confident. I'm just very confident.
You're making me uncomfortable.
Right now on the poll, 43% very confident, 43% somewhat confident, and only 14% kind of worried. We'll get into more of Penn State on the Dan Lanning pregame show, which will be the segment after next. But up next, let's talk about a very good Thursday night football game.
Maybe the best ever.
Here is Book.
This is Big Ten Championship Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, Week 14 in the NFL kicks off tonight with what Suk says may be the Thursday night football game of the year. The Lions hosting the Packers. At $5.15 on Amazon, the Lions have a 3.5 point favorite in that one. Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams earned Defensive Player of the Week honors for the conference this week for his monster performance against the Jets. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, a blocked extra point, and a 92-yard pick six against his former team. Meanwhile, former Duck Bucky Irving wins NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors after racking up 185 all-purpose yards in Tampa's overtime victory against the Panthers. On the college gridiron, the UCLA Bruins have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after just 1 season with the program, though Bieniemy's agent says that leaving the college ranks after 1 year was always part of his client's plan. In surprising baseball news, the currently residing in Sacramento Athletics have signed pitcher Luis Severino to a 3-year, $67 million deal. It is the largest guaranteed contract in franchise history. And down in Eugene, Oregon baseball coach Mark Wasikowski has signed a 3-year contract extension. He's now under contract with the Ducks through 2029. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The
All right, we have figured out the Penn State kicking situation.
Thank God.
And Landenberg, Pennsylvania native Ryan Barker, who is a freshman, is their kicker. He kicked last week and made 5 extra points. He did miss a field goal against Maryland.
A field goal of 50 plus.
He is 11 for 13 on the season. He is 0 for 1, 50 plus, and 4 for 5 between 40 and 49 yards.
So what we can say is the Penn State kicking game, pretty solid.
You could be a lot worse.
Be a lot worse.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and just, while we're here, before we get to Thursday Night Football.
Are we going to Google more kicking stats?
Yeah.
Are we going to do the comparison?
Yes.
How does he compare to Automaticus?
I want to see Addison. Yeah. I want to. What's his name?
Cardiaticus?
Cardiaticus. I want to see his stats compared to Barker.
Atticus Sappington.
Which is just.
And then we've got the other guy, Boyle, who can hit from distance.
Well, Boyle's the one that came in and kicked like earlier in the year, he kicked like a 50-something yarder. He's got the big leg. Of course, Sappington, the traitor, he was a beef.
So Sapp, 13 for 15, long of 42, 36 of 38 on extra points.
So what we can say is both kicking games,
pretty good.
Solid.
Yeah,
Strongish. Strongish.
Yeah.
I like it. Strongish.
Well, we got Packers-Lions tonight.
Yeah.
Fun game. Now, normally on Thursday Night Football, as we say here often, don't get your hopes up, even if it's a good matchup, because the games are atrocious. Because it's just a short week and tough. And they usually reflect that. However, remember, both of these teams played on Thanksgiving, so they actually have had a full week.
Yeah, normal rest.
So it may not look like your typical Thursday night game, which is fun. The only problem is the Lions are so banged up. They lost 3 guys on the defensive front, and I'm not even counting Aiden Hutchinson.
No.
They lost 3 guys on the defensive front last week. They're all out tonight, and they had to go sign 3 players off of other teams' practice squads, and Dan Campbell said they're all 3 going to be a part of the game plan.
They don't have a choice. They're down 18 players on IR right now.
Isn't that mostly all on defense, too?
14 of them, including one of the guys that was going to be a starter or rotation guy. Don't even count him because he got hurt in training camp.
That's crazy.
I mean, you got 19 guys, 15 dudes that you were counting on. 3 defensive linemen get hurt in the Thanksgiving game. I mean, honestly, I don't know how the Lions are doing this.
I don't either.
And Decker, who one of their best linemen, although this is now, I think, 3 out of the last 5 games that he's going to miss. And they've got Skipper, who's a nice swing tackle. It's the best O-line in football, so that is one that they've been able to weather. I mean, nothing has slowed down their offense. But how Aaron Glenn and company are doing this on the defensive side of the ball. And by the way, I mean, you had a defensive player of the year type candidate in Hutchinson go down, and the pass rush has still been really good. But at some point, when you start losing this many guys on one side of the ball, and especially this many guys at one position, and it's really been in the front 7, especially the linebacking core has been decimated, and the defensive line. And we'll see if some of these guys are able to come back. Some of them are season ending, and they're not coming, obviously. But it's the thing that gives me pause. Like, if I'm power ranking, there's 6 to 7 real contenders in the NFL. You got the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs. I do think you put the Packers in there, the Lions, Eagles. Anyone I'm missing? That's
Bears.
Yeah, Bears. Maybe if you want to throw a Pittsburgh in there, although I don't really. Their record's good, but I don't think they're a contending team. But I still contend that when healthy, the best team in football is in Detroit, which is weird to say. I don't think you can have that many guys out and end up winning a Super Bowl unless they get enough of these guys back. And just because you have this many guys hurt, by the way, last week doesn't mean that more don't keep getting hurt. That just may be a bad run here for Detroit that ends up costing them.
Well, it could be a rough night. Or a rough couple weeks for them, while they get healthy, because they have Buffalo next week.
Yes.
And Green Bay, Green Bay's good. They beat Green Bay already, but in that game, Green Bay Green Bay in the game that Detroit won in Wisconsin, 24-14 was the score.
Yeah.
Jordan Love threw a pick 6, by the way.
Yeah.
The Green Bay put up 460 yards of offense.
Yeah.
And then now they're in the dome where you don't have to worry about bad weather.
Yeah, they ran the ball for 6 yards against 6 yards to carry.
Against a defense that has pretty much everybody out. Yeah. I mean,
it's tough. Honestly, it's in Detroit. It's hard to bet against Detroit at this point, but it would not shock me If
No.
and Green Bay's a good, solid team.
This might be one of those just giveaway games where it's
possible.
like it's a rough night.
Yeah, you just get healthy.
You just don't have the guys.
Or it maybe ends up being a shootout, because the one thing that Green Bay doesn't do very well is Green Bay does not rush the quarterback. That's right there. If you had to pick their big bugaboo, their front just isn't very good. And if you don't get pressure on Jared Goff, this offense, it's the best in the NFL. He will absolutely murder you. Now, if you can't get in his face, you can make him uncomfortable. We've seen teams that can cause them problems, but right now that is not the Packers' MO. So look out. This may end up with, although it's not really a short week, but on Thursday night we get, like you said, ugly football. We may just get a shootout. This thing may be like 35-31, last team to have the ball wins. And how about you? But sign me up for that.
Yeah, I got a feeling Green Bay might handle them tonight. It might be one of those games where you look back at the score and go, "Man."
I'm just not certain. I'm just not certain that they're going to stop Detroit's offense. It wouldn't shock me if Green Bay wins, but I think I think Detroit will still score, because no one has really stopped this offense. I mean, it is just humming.
Well, interestingly, Green Bay did the first time. I mean, they gave up the pick six. Yeah. And if you take that out, they only gave up 17 points, and they only gave up 261 total yards to Detroit. Yeah. So I don't know. It seems like a rough spot for Detroit, but they, bet against them at your own peril, right? Like they've been just
10 in a row, right?
They're a machine.
And they're like, since Campbell got there, 70% against the spread, I think.
Yeah. Going to bite some kneecaps.
Well, that's what tonight. They do.
Let's talk Penn State as we prepare for Dan Lanning coming up in 15 minutes on The Fan.
And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
It's the Vancouver Four. On Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
On 1080 The Fan.
All right, this begins the Dan Lanning pregame show. He'll be on in 10 minutes. Penn State. We were talking about the Big Ten championship game here on the Fan Saturday.
You're speaking Japanese.
I don't think we are speaking Japanese. You need to turn on your mic there if you want to be heard.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I was speaking Japanese, and so, we just confuse everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My big Japanese words, which I know about 25.
Look, this is I don't know. I think it's easy to overthink this game, but to me, Penn State has one way they can win. One.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Oregon has multiple. Oregon's just more dynamic. Penn State has to make this like Wisconsin.
Yes.
And they're built that way. I mean, they certainly they're just like this classic Big Ten team. They're the kind of team that we thought Oregon would get more games like this season, being in the Big Ten.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we thought they would get more games like the Wisconsin game, but they didn't. I mean, they just rolled right through the Illinois and the Michigans and the Marylands or whomever. But this team has the ability to make it like the Wisconsin game. So I don't think, that's why I'm very confident. I don't know. I think we can overthink it and start talking ourselves into, here's, Penn State can do this and that. Oregon's far more dynamic. Yeah. And Penn State's really well coached. They have studs in a lot of places, but I don't see how they score enough to beat Oregon.
Well, that's why, like you said, I think there's a narrow path to victory. It is a path. Wisconsin damn near did it. But I don't think they can win in a shootout. I mean, look, they've got the best tight end of the country in Tyler Warren. He's got 81 catches. Their second best receiver has 35, and we don't even know if he's going to play. He's banged up. So, and if it's not him, do you know who's the next best receiver on their team after that? It's their back. It's
Ryan Barker.
Yes, they throw to the kicker. No, it's Singleton, who is he's
good.
Yeah, he's a nice back for them. But I mean, I think it says something where, your second leading receiver is Harrison Wallace, and then he's got 35. Singleton's got 33. And by the way, he played a lot of this year banged up. Now, he is getting healthy, and they say this is about as close to 100% as he's going to get. And you've seen the last couple weeks that he really is a dynamic presence. But, that I think that says something, that especially if their second leading receiver can't go, like you said, I just don't think they have a lot that particularly scares you. So with a team like with Penn State, I think, you're going to put a safety over the top on Warren. You're going to try to take him away. And then if you're Penn State, you have to try to run the ball and shrink the game like they did with Wisconsin. And you got to stay out of third and longs. When you look at when Aller has success, it's when it's third and manageable. I mean, Penn State is going to make no bones about it. They're going to want to run the ball on first down, run the ball on second down, and then get into the third and twos, third and threes.
Yeah.
And
I mean, again, classic Big Ten team.
Big Ten football.
And that's what they do. I would say this, the one thing to watch out for, though, and I want to ask Lanning about this guy, but their offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, we talked about him before. He's 1 foot out the door, and I'm not going to ask Lanning about that part of it because he's interviewing at West Virginia. Yeah. That is not good for Penn State. But I will say he was at Kansas last year, and he is dynamite. And Dan Lanning has already talked about him and in terms of creating explosive plays. The thing you got to watch out for about Penn State is they have never been in a more no-lose situation because they did not expect to be in this game.
No.
And they're going to the playoff no matter what. So they can let it rip. And so I wonder if there's going to be some new wrinkles, or maybe they take more risks in this game, knowing that even if they lose, they still get a chance to play for the title. Sure. I think that's an interesting element of what Penn State offensively could be bringing to the table. Oregon certainly will try to be ready for that. But I think that this guy's he's good at misdirection. He's good at confusing defenses. And that's something to watch out for. Even though the Penn State offense doesn't really scare you, they have put up big numbers this year. They, and again, a lot of that is against the crappy teams, the same teams that Oregon played, they played. And quite frankly, if you look at each one of them, they outperformed Oregon against some of these lesser teams. Yeah. So
Maryland, for example, they
things like that. Now against Ohio State, they lost. Oregon won, and I think that's the difference where we all feel pretty good about Oregon. But that's something to keep an eye on too. Is that maybe Kotelnicki's already going to West Virginia. Yeah. Don't know, and in that case, it could be a disaster for their offense because his eye's off the ball. On the other hand, they could scheme the crap out of this and take some serious risks that you didn't see coming because they have nothing to lose.
Well, and you saw the fake punt and that they ran to close out the game against Minnesota. If I'm Penn State, you got to grow some big balls on this one and take some chances. And again, just watch the early downs, because if Penn State has to operate in 3rd and 5, Penn State's dead in the water. Against Minnesota, against Ohio State, against USC, some of the better teams. Against Minnesota, 1 of 11, ended up having to squeeze out that game by 1. The USC game, which again they had to squeeze out at the end, they went 3 of 13, and against Ohio State that they lost, they went I think it was 3 of 12. Just they are not a team that is going to convert a lot of long 3rd down. So 1st and 2nd down, running the ball.
They want to create some explosives that you don't see coming. Try to catch you sleeping or confuse you. And then on the other side, I feel like they're going to have to blitz Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got a good front though.
They do, but I don't know. I feel like if they're really going to get Oregon's offense off its game, they got to warm him up.
Yeah.
And
it's been a while since the team did it. Boise State did it.
Well, Wisconsin did it.
Yeah.
So, and that wasn't that long ago. So again, they want to try to make it like that game. Let's talk to Dan Lanning about it. What do you think about that? The coach of the team.
They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins.
He's coming up next on The Fan. On Penn State in the Big Ten Championship. It'll be here on the Fan Saturday, 5 o'clock.
First time they've played since the '94 Rose Bowl.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Here's the coach, Dan Lanning, I believe. He's on the line. Dan Lanning, can you hear us?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Hey,
How
good.
old were you in 1994, by the way?
We went to Disney World that year with my family. I think it was in second grade.
Wow.
So you don't remember the big Penn State Oregon Rose Bowl matchup, I'm guessing.
Don't remember it well. No.
Did you have the delicious Opus X yesterday?
No, I didn't, but you got a good memory. We got a lot of things going on right now. Not a lot of time to slow down and enjoy things.
Yeah, I figured. I was going to ask you that. How did you balance signing day with preparation for this game?
Very carefully. I mean, there is no balance right now, so you just try to squeeze in as much as you can in the amount of time that you have. But it went really smooth. We got a great staff, and everything went really well.
Do we need to just sit down here over the next year or two and come up with a refurbed calendar? It's just kind of seems ridiculous that, teams are preparing for a national championship run here, and we got free agency and basically the draft happening in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Somebody ought to figure that out. But hey, it is what it is, right?
When you study Penn State, which of their games? I mean, I see you watch them all, but which of their games do you study most? Does one or two stick out?
I don't think you pick just one or two games. I mean, I think you try to figure out what teams look the most like you, play similar schemes to you. But we really like digging through all of it.
Who does Penn State most remind you of than what you've seen?
Oh, not a lot. There's not a lot of teams that what they do offensively is very unique and different. So I don't think we've seen anybody this year that looked quite like them. Just a variety of formations, how they utilize their personnel. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about Kotelnicki. He's their offensive coordinator, and I'm a Kansas fan, and so watched him closely last year, and he was just flat out dynamite for them. What does he present a defense? Because I know he is really well respected. I know you've talked about him before, about all the explosives he's created. Just what makes him so good?
Yeah, just again, I think it's hard to prepare for it because there's such a variety of formations. How he utilizes his personnel. Stuff that you don't normally see. You turn on one of their, football games, and you're gonna say, okay, how would you adjust to that? They make you ask a lot of questions about how you defend things, and then they utilize their personnel really well.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Warren is is going to be a top 10, top 15 NFL pick, best tight end in the country, most people think, and I feel like they use him maybe as much and in different ways than any players used in the country.
Yeah, they certainly do. They definitely he's a catalyst for their offense for sure.
So what must you do to be efficient against that offense? And is a lot of it on your quarterback?
Our quarterback?
Or I'm sorry, your defensive quarterback.
You want our quarterback to go out there and play defense? Is that
well,
what
maybe.
you're saying?
Yeah, if he's smart.
Yeah, they'll never.
If we do that, I don't like our chances.
That'd be great.
I'll be there. I mean, Dylan's a great quarterback, but I'm not going to put a lot of it on him. Stopping their offense, I'm not putting very much of that on Dylan at all.
They'll never see it coming.
But that's thinking outside the box.
I know.
Yeah, they would never see that coming.
And that's what you do. And you'd get headlines. You get headlines every week for for all the things you do. That could be fun. That's the next one. No, I meant your defensive quarterback.
All right. God, this is all over. But yeah, we can't give up explosive plays. Like we can't give up explosive plays, and then we got to create explosive on offense. I mean, they're a good football team, and they got more weapons than just their tight end. They got a great scheme. They got a good quarterback. They got good running backs, and got to be aware of where those guys are at all times. But yeah, we can't give up explosive plays. That's probably where it starts. And then offensively, we got to be able to create some.
How is your philosophy when you're playing against a team that maybe has just any one particular stand-up player? What's your philosophy on paying extra attention to someone, rolling someone over the top versus just kind of running your scheme and hey, this is kind of what we do?
Well, I think you always want to be aware of where people are at when you talk about a team's strengths. What makes it harder about how Penn State does it is that guy plays so many different positions and moves around the field. So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to line up my best corner on Tyler Warren. Well, then he's lined up the next play at running back or quarterback in the backfield and catching a snap. So this doesn't work like that. And that's probably what makes them more challenging is that they move their personnel around a lot.
So you always want to be playing best at this time of the year. Just kind of where do you think your guys are at? You seem to be getting healthy at the right time. Do you feel like you guys are peaking heading into the games that really matter?
Yeah, I mean, we played well last week, but this is a new week. So I thought, last week was probably our most complete game. Hate the last score there at the very end that we gave up. But ultimately, we played really clean in all three phases last week and love to build off of that this week.
Where do you find a Washington helmet? Is that an eBay sort of thing? How do you go about finding that at the half?
No comment.
Nice.
I like it. Subterfuge.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you see when you watch Drew Aller?
Yeah, big quarterback, strong arm. He can really move the ball down the field. I think he makes great decisions. He makes their offense tick.
Have you played against a pass rusher like Carter this year?
I don't think we have. No, I think he's probably as good as we've seen. He's certainly got a ton of twitch, and a guy that we have to be aware of.
Now, what is twitch? Describe twitch.
Like fast. Like how fast is that? Like if you went to the weight room right now and you did squat, like what do you think you'd squat right now?
5.
500 or 5 pounds?
Oh, probably 5 pounds. Yeah.
5 pounds. All right. So the twitch element of that is how fast you move that 5 pounds. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's how fast he's able to move. He has a lot of twitch. Like trying to kill a fly with a fly swatter. He's got that.
Okay. Oh yeah. Right. That's a good analogy. I'm telling you, I'd be really fast with 5 pounds.
I mean,
there you go.
Back in the day, I mean, Coach, he recovered a fumble in the Pheasant Bowl in Salina, Kansas.
That's right. That's right. He probably heard about it.
It's kind of a big deal being from the Midwest. I'm assuming you've heard about the Pheasant Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do college? Okay, so I'm asking this question because Carson Beck said that he didn't like watching college football. It gave him anxiety. Do players like watching games, or do they go about their college lives and not pay attention to other teams and games as much?
I can't really speak on that. I think our players watch football. I hope they do, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend a lot of time together. We watch a lot of football together. I know that. So, but when we're not together, how much do they watch? I don't know. I think they watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like the difference between watching tape and watch. I'm assuming even if you're not watching tape, you just like watching football.
For sure, it's the greatest sport known to man. Right? Tonight you got Thursday night football. Who's playing tonight?
Lions Packers. Best of the year.
I feel like the Lions are getting a lot of premier games. It seems like maybe it's just because last week was Thanksgiving. You always,
Hey,
but yeah. I mean, who doesn't like watching football?
Lions are actually. I mean, a lot of people think Lions are the best team in the NFL. I mean, it's a weird world that the Ducks are running college football, the Lions are running the NFL. It's a bunch of new bloods. We love it.
Yeah, but how about them Chiefs? You know what I mean?
Your Chiefs, yeah. They
still got it rolling too, right?
Yeah, they only lost once.
We were talking yesterday.
Tight matches, but they've been coming out with the W's, right?
Yeah, they have.
They've got that quarterback. I don't know if you know anything about quarterback play, but he's pretty good. I think you should probably try to find a guy like that. He's pretty solid.
All right.
Well, I like ours. That's for sure.
It was interesting because you got we won't talk a lot about the recruiting class, but you got another Polynesian Pipeline quarterback, and he talked about how he grew up admiring Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel, obviously Mariota and the number 8 thing. Just what the significance of that? I mean, that to me, when everyone's trying to get to the islands and kind of grab these kids, just kind of how special is that now that you kind of have built something pretty unique there at that position and the success and with that pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge to be able to lean on connections and opportunities that exist here in our program. And certainly I think the success of guys like Marcus and Dylan, paved the road for us to have opportunities for guys like Jared and KJ.
Because didn't you say Dylan was kind of one of his big recruiters?
Yeah, I think they definitely had some conversations. Like I always challenge these guys, when they're coming into our program. Like, don't ask me. I'm going to tell you great things about our program. Go ask our players, right? So go ask them the truth, and I think they'll tell you, what you can expect from us here.
Now, if you were going to have an Opus X, where's the humidor?
In the cigar room.
At home or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a cigar room.
Got a cigar room. Yeah.
Stocked?
I haven't been in there a while, so I don't know if it's. But usually there's some stogies up there to tap into.
So I'm guessing winning a Big Ten championship, that would probably elicit a trip, give you a little downtime. Does that elicit a trip to the cigar room?
We'll see. I don't know.
Well, then
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Then he's got transfer portal.
One of these days.
No rest for the weary.
One of these days.
Somewhere around February.
Yeah.
Somewhere around February
Right.
we'll probably elicit a trip.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, good luck in Indianapolis against Penn State, and good luck on the recruiting trail, the portal trail, or whatever they call it.
Appreciate it.
You know?
You guys have a good one.
All right, see ya. There he goes.
The portal trail, the Oregon trail.
I don't know.
I'm a little disappointed because
You didn't ask him to have a cigar with him.
Oh yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Forgot about that.
Chicken.
Well, maybe in February. I think that's the key. Is it's got to be an off season. It's got to get down there. What? The only thing I'm disappointed about was the Rose Bowl matchup, like because Penn State's wearing the all whites, and Oregon earlier this year wore the yellow, green, yellow, the Rose Bowl throwbacks. It was right there. And they went with the damn All Blacks.
They had to go with yet another
like it.
unused combo.
I don't like it.
You had it.
I don't like it.
Penn State, Oregon, it was right there.
I read first time since 2008 that they're going green lid, black top, black pants.
2008.
Just once in one of these big time games, I would love it if they would go with
their school colors.
Yeah, go with something traditional.
Exactly.
That's a pretty common complaint among like the diehard Duck fans. Is I love all the stuff we do, but when it comes to the big games, people should know it's you and your colors.
Well, yes, because there's a lot of people tuning in to you for the first time,
right?
And you see a team in black, and you're like, "Wait, who's that?"
Well, like that national championship
anybody.
game against Auburn, they came out in like carbon fiber helmets and silver and like neon highlighter. It didn't really look like green and yellow.
No, it's it's a little it's a bit off for me. And I really think this year's unis, when they've done the traditional stuff, whether the yellow, white, yellow or the yellow, green, kind of the throwback stuff, I think it's one of the best looks in college football.
It's been great.
It would have, with the Penn State being the traditional, the clean whites in the Big Ten title game, God, it would have been a Rose Bowl throwback. And I was like, there's no way they don't do it. And then I was a little they look good. The All Blacks look good, but it's just.
I do also appreciate though, like the juxtaposition of like they are the old school team, we are the new school team, and so this is us, and this is what this is. I can appreciate that side of it as well.
Dan Lanning's appearances here on our show brought to you by Unitas Community Credit Union. Like a coach's playbook, Unitas has a winning strategy for your finances. Unitas. Post-game show?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, we've kind of already broken it down.
I mean, I want to hear about your fast twitch on the 5-pound squats.
Yeah. Well, when I said 5, I meant 500.
You have the Jason Swigard, Danny Meringue squatting.
But I would not have much twitch.
No.
On 500.
No.
Well, then why'd you lie to him? He asked 5 or 500. And
well,
you said
because
5
I
pounds.
thought it would be more fun to say 5 pounds. And, I'm humble.
Yeah. I bet you get
humble liar.
I bet you get 135.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a 45 on each side.
Let's not try. How about that?
I want to see Rop in the squat cage.
Let's keep you guessing.
Let's go.
Well, we had the combine several years
That was
ago.
what, like 15 years ago?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long
ago. It was
a
while ago.
What year was that?
I wasn't around. I don't know.
Nah, it was a long time ago. I just remember once years ago that Swag, who's never lifted in his life, came out and said that he could squat 300 pounds. And then they actually went to crunch.
Here's the situation.
And I think he quit at like 185 because his spine was going to blow out. Good times.
At least now Coach Lanning knows about the Pheasant Bowl.
Yeah.
He already knew.
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he did. I was skeptical.
He plays it cool, but he knows. Everybody out there knew back then.
Yeah. The
so
twitch.
that would have been. So he said he was in second grade in 95.
Well, yeah, something like that. It was 94, I think was the
so he would not have been born
but
when
the legend lives on.
When news hit of my
but the legend lives on.
Me falling on a fumble in the.
I mean, he still knows.
It was the first thing his parents told him when he came out. Hey, you know what, son? You know what you missed?
Yeah.
He still knows about.
I'll send him a few clippings.
Yeah.
Remind him. I'm a little disappointed you didn't. Come on, you were supposed to go down there and have a cigar with him.
Yeah. I don't think he was in joking mode today.
Well, he kind of seemed to have some fun today.
I was laughing a little bit, but
More so than normal.
I think it was more about the absurdity of it. I do enjoy. He asked you how much you. Is that the first time anyone's ever asked you how much you squat?
Yeah, and I appreciate that it comes from Dan Lanning.
Yes, that has never been asked to you before.
Nope.
At any point in your life.
How much do you squat?
How much you bench?
All right, well, we'll do a post-game show. We'll see what happens. And then we got in the news. You know, in the news today is very special. Shark news. Oh. Did you see this?
I did see it.
Oregon shark news.
Yeah. We got a lot of ocean news.
Right there in the Willamette.
Yeah. The Willamette.
So, Dan Lanning post-game next on The Fan.
Oregon Ducks
learned a lot. We learned a lot today.
Well, he's got a humidor upstairs.
But here's
He
my
doesn't
thing.
know.
He has a cigar room.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, a cigar room.
I'm jealous because if I smoke in the house, I get yelled at. But I also find it interesting that he doesn't know what's in his humidor.
Right.
Which means
Somebody else
someone
stocks
else is
it.
stocking it for him.
I don't think he's a huge cigar guy.
Probably not, because I can tell you what's in mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
It's just a really cool house that already had that feature, and so somebody has showed him how to use it. Are we thinking that? Or do you think he made that for his house?
No, I think that was in there.
Yeah.
And he slightly uses it. He said he hadn't been up there in a while. Yeah. I mean, that it's possible that he hasn't been up there since that video of him smoking the Opus X last year.
I've got some buddies of mine that like a cigar, but they probably smoke 1 or 2 a year, and it's probably one of those things.
I think a lot of cigar smokers are like that.
Yeah. Whereas if you're someone that smokes a lot, like I like to do it when I'm just walking my dog. So like I know what's in mine, but I guess if you haven't opened up your humidor in 6 months, by the way, hopefully he's keeping that thing moist, because hate to see beautiful Opus X's dry out.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't like that word moist. But look, when you're a rich guy like that, or I mean in a nice house like that,
it doesn't matter.
Somebody's handling that.
And if you got a dry cigar, I bet you someone can get a good one.
Right.
I'm also willing to guess that Opus X is not purchased by him.
No.
I'm guessing that's
he probably gets a bunch of gift
I gotta
cigars.
tell you, I think that, and this is a good thing for Duck fans.
Mm-hmm.
The more we talk to him, the less. What am I trying to say? He doesn't know a whole hell of a lot about anything outside of what he's doing on a weekly basis.
Yes.
So
that
that leads me to believe that other people do a lot of things for him.
The eye is not off the ball.
It feels a little bit akin to when Chip Kelly took over for Bilotti and everyone was wondering why Chip wasn't doing all the social things and all of that. It's like he is so singularly focused on his one thing that anything that can be outsourced is outsourced.
We've learned that. We learned that Dan Lanning went to Disneyland when he was young. We learned about Twitch. We learned about Rop's squat thrust today. I mean, we learned a lot of things. And Ty Warren is good.
By the way, you don't want to go to Disneyland around that time, because he was talking about that during the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
that's like the worst time of year to be at Disneyland. Yeah. I've been.
It's terrible.
I went.
It's the end of the holiday break, and then it's everybody from those two cities who's converging on the Rose Bowl, like using that as an opportunity to go to Disneyland.
We went. I've only been to Disneyland a couple times. One year we went the day after Christmas, and they said that it was the busiest day of the year, to the point where I don't know what it's always like at Disneyland, but that day we had the kids with it. Meat was with us and his little cousin who lives down there. So we wanted to show him the best time. We could not get on any of the good rides. You can get on the crappy rides, but not the good ones. You have to stand in line for like 2 hours.
Well, I went there I went to Disney World a couple years ago on my own, which, by the way, that's the way to do it.
Sans kids.
I can't recommend that.
You might get arrested.
Yeah, well, I did get kicked out of Star Wars, the cantina. But I had a grand old time.
Aren't they casing the place for people like you?
I think so. Well, look, I was profiled, and I don't appreciate it.
You should be profiled. You're a perp. You don't have kids with you.
No, and I was in an arm sling too.
Yeah, see, all the red flags.
It was. Still, I didn't appreciate it. But I just didn't realize, because I was never a big Disney guy. And then I went without my kids, and I was like, this is amazing. And you can drink as much as you want. Maybe you can take some pills. You can have a grand old time. But I will say that the lines and everything, I just don't know how people do that stuff, especially in the heat.
Well, they're so long.
They are like the Star Wars rides, which was like, hey, I want to go on those. The big Star Wars ride, I forget what they call it, but they have one that's like the big ride. Everyone wants to go on it. The line for that thing all day. And I was like, I'm going to be here all day. I'll maybe wait till the end. They said, no, there is a 2+ hour wait at any time. And the fast passes, you have to stay at one of the Disney resorts to even get the option to buy them, because they sell out, and they sell out before they even go on sale to the public. So that's not even a choice. And it's just standing in line for 2 hours for things. I don't know how you do that with kids.
We think we're going to attempt to brave Disney late January, early February with Cannon for the first time. Yeah. But he's not going to be a ride guy. He's only 4, so it's going to be mostly about like meeting characters and crap. That seems like the easy thing.
What about the little one?
Well, he'll just be in the stroller having a grand old time.
See, this is the other one. I'm telling you, Buck, that's a mistake, because your bratty kids won't remember it.
Well, so here's the thing. We're already going to be down there for a family reunion. So it's not like we're planning the trip. We're going to go for one day only. We'll see how long he lasts. It's going to be a trial and error deal.
How bad would you feel if you never took them to Disneyland?
Depends how much they knew about it and if they wanted to go.
You got to take him at least once, right?
Well, I think every parent thinks that.
Yeah.
I know my wife certainly did.
Yeah. You got to do it. Trust me, no one disliked Disney more than me, and I still ended up taking them twice because you didn't. And one, we lived in Florida, and when you live in Florida.
Well, I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area, so just getting down to Disney was not a big deal.
When do you think he finds out about it? Let's say you'd never take him.
But
I mean, like he's already aware of like Mickey Mouse and his friends, but I don't think he knows about Disneyland.
Well,
so,
of course not. So when does he find out?
Second grade, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, I'm thinking by the time he's 10 to 12, he's putting some pressure and be like, "What the hell, Dad?"
Yeah, and that's 10. You turn 10 when you're in like 4th grade.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, look,
son, we're not going to Disneyland.
So we start
But
probably
here's
getting
an
bugged
AR.
about it, kindergarten to 2nd grade, somewhere
Do you know
around
what
there.
this is? An AR?
that is interesting. If you told your kid there will be no Disneyland, but how do you feel about semi-automatic rifles?
And teach you to shoot, son.
Good, Dad.
By the way, did you see the healthcare CEO that got off?
Oh.
That dude was writing stuff on the bullets.
I did see that.
Well, can we? We're gonna.
Yeah.
I've got a whole thing on that.
And now other people are posting the whereabouts of
I know.
other.
Yeah, so that'll be in the club. We got to talk about that. That is fascinating. The whole story is fascinating. If you don't know what he's talking about,
It's crazy.
wait for the club.
Yeah, and social media, dude, there's some bad stuff going on in social media getting on a day-to-day basis.
Are you serious?
I think this may be the worst thing I've seen. I mean, this is
So we'll get to that at 6.
bad.
Up next, though, hey, I've got Oregon Coast shark news. ITN.
Yeah.
And tsunami news? Is there tsunami
Yeah.
news as well?
Dude, it's
Well,
all
not
about
really.
the coast.
There was an earthquake. There was no tsunami.
There was a warning.
There was a warning.
Yes, there
They
was.
said, don't you visit out here.
No, they said there could be big water, ocean water.
We'll get to that next, but first, Buck with SportsCenter.
This is Big Ten Championship Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, Week 14 in the NFL kicks off tonight with the Lions hosting the Packers on Thursday Night Football. It's a 5:15 kickoff on Amazon. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites. Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams has earned NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors after his monster performance against the Jets on Sunday that included a 92-yard pick six against his former team. Meanwhile, former Duck Bucky Irving wins NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors after he racked up 185 all-purpose yards in Tampa's win over the Panthers. On the college gridiron, the UCLA Bruins have parted ways with offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after just one season with the program. In surprising baseball news, the Athletics have signed pitcher Luis Severino to a 3-year, $67 million deal. It's the largest guaranteed contract in A's franchise history. And down in Eugene, Oregon baseball coach Mark Wasikowski has signed a 3-year contract extension. It'll keep him under contract with the Ducks through 2029. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's The Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Hey, what's up? You been hurt, injured, beat up? Maybe you were squatting 5 pounds and you don't have enough twitch.
And you just
And you
collapsed.
fell, and you can blame it on Dan Lanning. Get some of that cigar room money.
What would happen if you put 500 pounds on your back?
My back would break.
See, and that's...
And then I'd call Donican.
Then you'd call Donican. Yes, that is the... Or if you've actually been injured and it's not your fault because you were just being...
Sometimes it isn't.
Sometimes it isn't. Yeah, if you've ever been injured, car accident, slip, fall, work, whatever... you really should contact them because it is kind of a tricky situation to navigate. The other side is going to have an insurance company. They're going to have attorneys. You should have one too. And the cool part about the advocates, one, they're kick-ass people, great drinkers, by the way. And number two is they're free. They're free to consult. They're free to talk to. They're free to hire, and you will never write them a check. That's what the insurance companies are for.
Yeah, and if they can't increase the total amount in your pocket, they'll just tell you that.
Let you know.
If you've been injured, you need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. Go to advocateslaw.com.
Running a small business takes
on social media again.
I did like the suggestion on the text line that said when Dan rolls Dylan out there for the first series just to pull him off the field, you guys are gonna love that.
Yeah, it'd be a little homage,
little ode to our show.
Yeah.
Jogs out there and puts his hand in the dirt.
What if he plays and he's awesome?
I mean, you can do a free defensive substitute. Like as long as you're subbing legally, just let him run on and run off.
I'm willing to guess that. I mean, at some point, Dylan Gabriel played defense.
Sure.
You know, high school
Might have been second grade, but
yeah, well, junior high, right? By the time you get to high school, most guys don't play two ways anymore, but maybe. Played linebacker at some point.
December 5, 2024, it's time for the news. You like that?
I like it.
I didn't.
I felt it.
Little Peter Brady of me there.
When it's time to change. I can never see the Brady Bunch the same way once I knew that Greg was violating the mom. It's just...
What?
Greg Brady was stooping Florence Henderson.
I thought Greg was gay.
No, that's the dad.
Oh, that's right.
The dad was gay.
was gay. Yeah.
Greg.
So he was not stooping.
He was not stooping the mom. Greg was stooping the mom, and I just can't.
He was stupid Peter.
I can't see it the same. Just
why not?
Doesn't work for me.
It's beautiful.
Because it was wholesome.
It's a beautiful thing.
They're just gonna tell me that
Love.
Sam the Butcher was doing something that
he was with Alice.
Alice was running some sort of weird commune in New Mexico.
Man.
He's like a religious zealot.
The seediness of the Brady Bunch.
Who would have thunk, right? Well, the Cosbys, right? Maybe the more wholesome the show. Wasn't the one girl from Full House, like, wasn't she doing crystal meth?
Yeah, Jodie Sweetin had a big drug problem.
Different strokes. We know what was going on. They're all dead. I'm telling you, the more wholesome the show, the worse it is.
Although that Candace Cameron's done okay. Married a hockey player. She married Pavel Bure.
Pavel Bure.
Really?
Yeah, she's super.
And then she was
Christian
on
lady.
with The View or something like that.
It's brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Today is the day of the ninja.
Really?
Yeah. What are you laughing?
Because when I was a kid, dude,
ninjas are awesome.
I thought ninjas were the amount of bad karate movies that I have watched in my life. And by the way, I love that they all starred white people. Like every ninja movie I ever watched, the ninja was white.
Well, we were led to believe as white people that if we were let a foul into some nefarious doings, there would be ninja henchmen around. Like that would be part of it.
And yet somehow the white guy that studied when he was like 15 is better than all of the ancient Japanese.
Oh, yeah.
ninjas.
It is also National Blue Jeans Day.
Oh, all right.
Do you have blue jeans on?
I don't wear a lot of jeans anymore. I got a couple pair, but to be honest with you, I think the pant game, we're just doing better stuff nowadays than straight blue jeans. I think we can do better. But the blue jeans that you do get the ones that have like that 5% spandex in them that got the stretch. Game changer.
Imagine coming face to face with a great white shark. 2,000 pounds.
No, I'm all right.
12 feet long.
No.
Well, it happened to a Vancouver man.
Yeah.
He was spearfishing in Pacific City.
I've been to Pacific many times.
He said the shark was swimming about 8 to 10 feet away. His name is Vlad. Because, of course.
Yeah. By the way, who the hell at this time of the year is just out cruising around?
Well, he was spearfishing.
Must be good spearfishing.
Yeah, he said he was fishing for lingcod.
Get the wetsuit on out there. I think there's better ways to catch some cod. Huh?
I was guessing that as well. Couldn't you do that above water?
I don't like that.
Yeah,
at
Vlad.
all.
Well, maybe he wants to be Vlad the Impaler, and therefore he has to do the
like where you're
impaling
going
with
with
the...
Well, he did say that the conditions off the coast on this day and that weekend were picture perfect. And so they headed out there for a couple days. They came up with a 42-pound cod.
Well, that's cool.
I mean, that's a pretty big-ass cod.
Sounds like a win.
Yeah, big cod.
But he said, because they were all like, well, let's go home.
Yeah.
Let's go drinking.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. I want one for myself. So what did he do? He jumped in the water.
Yeah.
Vlad.
Yeah.
He was freediving to try to get his own before they left.
Yeah. And this is what happens.
And yeah, it was caught on camera.
Yeah.
A 12-foot great white shark swam right by him.
Yeah, I saw it on KGW, and it is the amount of fear pee that I would have in that moment. My wetsuit would be very, very warm and toasty.
He said that he was about 30 to 40 feet underneath the surface of the water.
Yeah.
And he
Which,
quickly.
by the way, Vlad's kind of a badass.
That's a deep dive for a free dive.
That is a serious deep free dive.
Yeah, how far out do you think they were?
I don't know.
I don't care if they're close to shore or not. Being down 40 feet without a tank is
like, that's kind of. I don't know if Vlad's full of crap. Have you ever been down even like in the 20 feet? Like, you start to feel the pressure.
Yeah.
He said he quickly swam back to the boat, and he had his gun. He had an AR on him.
Gosh. That's some crazy stuff.
Well, they interviewed the Oregon State University professor by the name of Tyler Chappell, and he studies sharks and marine life. And they asked him, how common would this be? And he said, if you have ever been swimming in the ocean or surfing, a shark has definitely spotted you.
Yeah.
And that's just saying that right there is terrifying.
Yeah.
He says it's more often than not a shark is going to see you than you are going to see the shark. I'm sure this fisherman has had a shark around them before.
But a great white?
He added that there's 15 different species of sharks in Oregon. Bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah. And one of them's the great white. But they're pretty rare.
Yikes.
Pretty cool.
Nope, never. The only thing I saw was a white tip. Was the only shark that I've ever come in proximity with, and it was way below me. I was snorkeling, and it was way down deep. And I still had some fear pee and was like, yeah, I don't want to be here.
I came face to face with a tiger shark.
Yeah, you were in the cage, right?
Yeah, and I have a photo of it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that thing's a little. Even in the cage, that would get my.
He wanted to eat me.
My heart pumping a little bit.
I flipped him off.
Someone's saying the lingcod are way, way out there, so he may have been like
30 miles out.
Yeah, someone saying he may have been like middle of the ocean, which is even scarier.
That's crazy.
Screw that whole thing.
Well,
man.
we did have an earthquake in Northern California off the coast. 7.0.
They said it was the biggest one in years.
Yeah. Now, they did issue a tsunami warning for parts of the Northern California coast and Southern Oregon coast. And they ended up rescinding that. They said that there was a small change in ocean height, only about a couple of inches, and that was about 200 miles out to sea, but nothing hit the shores.
There was a video of some people shopping in like a Northern California grocery store, and it was a pretty good shake, and no one cared. They were like, okay, no big deal.
The world's smallest park is getting a little holiday.
The holiday cheer?
Sure, we'll go with cheer.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Mill Ends Park, the world's smallest park, now has a Christmas tree on it.
Yeah. By the way, is that not the most Portland hipster thing that we have?
The world's smallest park?
The world's Mills End. I mean,
yeah.
If you had to say just...
How big would you say that is? It's like 452 square inches, but like if you described it...
I don't know, it's probably
like a hula hoop?
Yeah, I think it's smaller than that.
Is it?
Yeah. When you walk by it, have you ever actually seen it?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the pictures.
I'd say it's probably like 2 feet across by maybe a foot and a half wide.
Well,
it's tiny.
It has a tree on it now.
Yeah.
A little Christmas tree. It's got little holiday birds and ornaments. And it's topped with a star.
I just wanted them to do... what they should have done is the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. You don't know?
Yeah, like just no...
Well, the Charlie Brown Christmas tree it's like 2 twigs and it's got the one red bulb that like hangs down from it.
That'd have been cute.
Yes. Because like if you've seen, you may not know it like off the top of your head, but if you saw a photo, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's the Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
I'm looking at where that is. Oh, that's right over by us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Waterfront Park.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I drive by that all the time.
This is whenever you see that, like the cheesy little one red bulb, that's the Charlie Brown tree.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh my God.
That's what I say. I can't believe you hadn't gone by. Yeah, it's tiny.
I have. I've driven by it a million times. I've never noticed it.
Yeah.
It's right there on.
Yeah, because again, it's like.
Because it's small.
It is so Portland. Yeah, and they have a little. I don't know. There's like a little. I guess it's just a sign.
Yeah, it's got a sign on it.
A little sign. It says Mills End.
It is very Portland.
If you walk by it, sometimes you'll see people there that are doing of course, you got to take a selfie in front of it.
Yes. Yes. Everything's for the gram.
Everything's for the gram,
including coming face to face with a great white shark.
Yeah, I'm good there, man. I don't even have Instagram anymore, and if I did, that's not worth it.
Now we've got news out of Autzen Stadium.
Oh, by the way, when we come back from the Autzen Stadium news, I have more marine life news that I think is way more interesting than the great white.
Okay.
Orcas. Have you seen what the orcas are up
They
to?
at it again?
In Oregon?
Well, north of us.
Yeah, they're up in with like San Juans.
Yeah. Have you seen what they're doing now?
No.
Yeah.
Can't wait to find out.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
All right. Well, we've got a lot to get to. Stay there. Coming up next on In the News on The Fan.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
I don't know what to expect as far as the crowd at Boise. I've never been there. I don't even know where it is on the map. But what I do know is communication is always a key to victory. You know, if me and Jack aren't on the same page, we're going to have things that don't go right. So that's been vital, whether it's week 1 to week 12, 13. You know, that's the key to victory. So as long as we're all on the same page, I know we can execute at a high level.
Oh my God, that's the UNLV quarterback.
Yeah, that's Haj Malik Williams.
By the way, that's awesome. I don't know how many people could pick Boise where it's at on the map in Idaho.
In Idaho?
Well, I can tell you where Idaho is, but do you know where Boise's at?
I think it's south, little southwest in the state, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's closer. It's
close to Oregon.
It's close to the Oregon border.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the only championship game of any of the major ones that's played on campus.
That's right.
The Fans Window into Sports is brought to you by Window Nation. 50% off all window styles this month. A bonus 10% and 72 months with zero interest. Schedule your estimate by calling 866-90Nation or visiting windownation.com.
The home of
Way to go. That was a hell of a run.
According to court records, he told police he was a custodian contracted by Oregon Athletics and had used his athletic access card to use a gator because he had a family emergency and he could not afford an Uber.
Well.
He then allegedly told police he was intending to drive the gator home about 8 miles away from the stadium. However, he said he got distracted by a person on a bench, crashed the gator into a wall, then he walked back to the stadium to take the second gator to take it home. God, what a mess.
Yeah, when you crash the first stolen vehicle, you have to go back and get another.
By the way, where does the beer come in?
Well, he said, so he
At what point in the family emergency do you crack a cold one?
So he stole the first gator at 2:45 in the morning. He then told police he worked at the basketball arena until midnight, and he went to a bar where he had a beer before leaving to steal the gator. He also said he had gotten a total of 8 hours of sleep in 72 hours. He had smoked marijuana. He's arraigned on a charge of unauthorized use of a vehicle.
If he was up for, what, is that 66 of 72 hours? Might have been smoking more than marijuana.
It's possible. Maybe that was the family emergency. You know, is that a meth?
I always love that. Like, do you think that works? I'm just really tired.
Just tired. Well, it's like when celebrities go to the hospital for exhaustion. They check themselves into Cedars. Right. With what? Exhaustion. Oh, yeah. I often do that. Sometimes when I get exhausted and I think to myself, you know what I need to do? Go to the hospital. Clearly.
Well, you're up, news contributor.
Yes. So 37 years ago.
It's about time.
Orcas.
Yeah.
Off the coast of Seattle in the San Juans, where you have paddleboarded, right? With the orcas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did you paddleboard or kayak?
No, it was kayak.
Kayak. So in 1987, this was noticed that the orcas were wearing salmon hats.
What?
A pod of orcas started wearing dead salmon as hats. And then soon after, it spread, a fashion trend spread to other orca pods in the area. No one understood why. And then by 1988, it was over. The orcas had moved on to something else. Yeah, check it out. Look, dead salmon hat.
Okay.
There's wearing dead salmon around. Well, here we are 37 years later, and guess what's back?
The salmon hat.
The salmon hats. Orcas have been spotted for the first time in 37 years in the same area. Fashion is cyclical. The dead salmon hats are back, and scientists have no idea why.
That really is amazing. We see almost the exact same cycle in fashion. It's like 30 years-ish, and everything comes back around. How about that?
There was an orca seen carrying a solitary dead fish on her head. Then a few weeks, the behavior was picked up by members of the other pods, suggesting something about it must have appealed. And now it's back, and now it's spreading.
It was an homage to their ancestors.
What
wait, how long do they live?
The ancestors wore
maybe
dead hats?
How long do orcas live?
Let's look.
Is it the same orcas?
I don't know.
I mean, 37 years.
Area.
It's not that long. 37 years, you know?
Orcas. Yeah, they live between 50 and 90 years.
So it could be the same orcas.
It's possible.
They just went to a vintage shop. You know, they did a little retro shopping.
First off, I think it's awesome that orcas are wearing hats. And dead and like
how does that work?
Do a Google image search. You can see them wearing.
Well, I know I see it, but how do they balance it on there while they're swimming in the ocean or the sound?
They're very talented individuals.
Yeah. Just out there cruising around with a dead fish on their head. I saw that and I thought to myself, that is amazing. Like, because we know that they're way more advanced and smarter than we give them credit for. Is it possible that this is a fashion thing, that one orca's like, hey, check it out. This is badass. And then the other orcas.
He's the lead orca.
Yeah, and then the other orcas are like, dude, Jimmy over there has got a dead fish hat. And he's like, well, I want a dead fish hat. And then once it spreads, do they think it's lame because now everyone's doing it, so they just ditch it? And here we are 37 years later, and now it's back. I didn't know orcas had fashion trends.
I also wonder if it could be like a scent thing, like if they're trying to announce that they're showing up because they've got a bounty or something. Yeah. I mean, I like the fashion angle better. It's more fun. But maybe there's some nature reason behind it.
This is a marine biologist says, over time, we may be able to gather enough information to show why, for instance, one fish was used as a hat for over 30 minutes, and then he ate it.
Huh.
Yeah. He's carrying it around on his head.
I think Buck might be onto something.
Or maybe it's like those little cucumber eye masks. It's a little self-care and then a little snack
A
afterwards.
little self-care.
Yeah. Said they're capable of communicating in different ways. They have whole cultures. They communicate with orcas in different regions. They hunt in groups. So no one seems to know. They don't even have a working theory right now on why they wore them in the first place.
Buck heard this story, and he has a working theory within 60 seconds.
I don't think that's a working theory.
I think it's a working theory. I think that's a great theory.
It seems reasonable enough, plausible at least.
That's right. As a matter of fact, let's go with it.
Deborah Giles, who's the science and research director at the nonprofit Wild Orca, said, honestly, your guess is as good as mine.
So my guess is good.
That is true. Your guess is as good as mine.
At least as good as hers.
I don't know about you, but I find it adorable. The idea that there's just, like, the photos of it are just cute as the dickens.
So he's like the Cam Newton of the orcapod.
Yes. And now
little
it's
out there, but
yeah. Hey, it spread in 87, and now it's spreading again. Other orcas have been seen with the dead salmon hat.
Texas was the scientist wearing bell bottoms and puka shells. What's next? Old Nirvana and Pink Floyd t-shirts?
Well, I was trying, and this got me down a rabbit hole.
That'd be cool.
It got me down a rabbit hole yesterday of, have we seen animals wear stuff? And they said that, like, you see it with, like, chimps and some primates, but they said that the close thing, they said humpback whales for a while, a certain pot of them were wearing seaweed on their head. And they thought maybe
like dreads.
Yeah, they thought maybe that was a texture thing, that perhaps it felt good.
I've
but
seen dolphins play with seaweed, like they pass it to each other, like, but not wear it.
No. Animals usually don't wear things. So this is
Wouldn't it be cool if they did though?
It'd be awesome. Like if your dog just showed up outside and he's
animal fashion.
Yeah.
He's in a little top hat.
Well, animals in clothing is great.
Well, they are, but it would be like when your kids, like when you get older kids, Buck, you don't know this yet, but because you just throw them in PJs and a coat and tell them to go to school. But later in life, they'll dress, and you'll be like, "Oh God, what are they wearing?" Or like,
well, this happened today. This happened.
Today.
Yeah. I put him in a cozy little sweatsuit to go to school. It was like a Carhartt branded sweatsuit, brown and black. He wanted to wear his rainbow socks and blue Crocs with it, so that was quite the combo.
I love it.
Yeah.
Expression.
I let it go, man. Let him be.
Oh,
himself.
and I did. I wasn't getting in the way of that train.
What if he puts a dead fish on his head?
I like the text line saying maybe the salmon hats are like gang signs. They're showing colors and turf.
Yeah. So you check it out, man. You know what happens when you come over here?
Don't tread on me. Or us.
That's the Trump flag of the orca world.
Deal asks, what if they come back wearing MAGA hats?
Huh.
No offense, but I thought the orca dead fish news, I liked it better than the great white news.
Yeah, it's more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, great whites, bitch. They're out there.
Yeah, you see them. You know what you don't see for 37 years?
Yeah.
Fish hats. I mean, when I saw the headline, I was like, all right, you immediately got me.
I'm like, what does that even look like? I'm like, well, it looks exactly like that.
Exactly like what you would think.
What if animals bring back the pocket watch?
Like
a monocle?
Monocle, that was right where I was going. Like a Mr. Peanut sort of thing.
They do suspenders.
I like suspenders.
You do or don't?
I do.
I flirted with them.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable.
No, I know. They're not practical, and I don't have a pair, but I think they're kind of cool looking.
I bought 2 pair a number of years ago, and they're not comfortable.
What?
A belt is a far superior way to go. I still have them, but you ever have something that it reminds you of your dumbass? Like, I can't believe I tried to make that happen for a while. It constantly feels like it's giving you a wedgie, by the way. Yeah. It's no good.
Yeah. It's too bad.
There's a reason why no one wears suspenders anymore.
Some people do.
Yeah, old people.
Yeah, when's the last time you saw a young dude wearing suspenders?
Well, hipsters.
But that's my point. When you
but for function, I guess.
When you try to put on, well, that's why I did it. I thought it kind of looked cool with some outfits. Like when you're dressing up, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna look sweet. Yeah, it may look cool.
Yeah, I wore some to my freshman homecoming dance.
Yeah, you spend the entire time being like, this is super uncomfortable.
With your rented suit.
Oh, I don't even think I went with a suit. I think I just did a little shirt and tie with some khakis.
Yeah.
Well, there is in the news, guys. December 5, 2024, brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys at advocateslaw.com. The Hot 5 at 5 is next. A lot of football news when we return on The Fan. Hey, sticking around for Window Nation, where right now you will get the best deal of the year. They're pushing hard for your business. So if you've been putting it off all year, right now is the best time in terms of savings to buy windows for your home. Because at the end of year sale at Window Nation, you're getting 50% off all window styles, plus 0% interest for 72 months. That is 6 years where you won't have to pay a dime of interest. It's an amazing deal, and just because they're going to add an additional 10% off. So right now is the best time to get windows. 96% of the windows installed by Window Nation require no follow-up service. They can install in a day or less, and their windows come with a lifetime warranty. So tell them you heard it from Isaac on the Fan when they come out to your house and give you the presentation. They'll give you a bid. You don't have to go through with it. Free, no obligation. To get that, just call 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION. You can also log on to windownation.com. They are the true window experts, 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. Isachi.
Tune in this week to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, where they break down all the headlines in the NFL. Presented
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, Week 14 in the NFL kicking off in about 10 minutes as the Lions host the Packers on Thursday Night Football. It's a 5:15 kick. The Lions a 3.5-point favorite. Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams earning Defensive Player of the Week honors for the conference after his monster performance against the Jets on Sunday. He had a 92-yard pick six and a couple sacks. Meanwhile, former Duck Bucky Irving winning NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors after racking up 185 all-purpose yards in Tampa's win over the Panthers. On the college gridiron, UCLA Bruins have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after just one season with the program. In baseball news, the Athletics have signed a pitcher Luis Severino to a 3-year, $67 million deal. It's the largest guaranteed contract in A's franchise history. And down in Eugene, Oregon baseball coach Mark Wasikowski has signed a 3-year contract extension. He's now under contract with the Ducks through 2029. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley, the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny and Dusty. Weekdays noon to 3 on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
The champ is here!
It's 5 o'clock.
12 games, 12 wins for Dan Lennox.
This is Primetime on Big Ten Championship Week.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Everyone right now is going to be patting us on the back. Who cares?
Primetime with Isaac and Suk on the Odyssey app and 1080.
You're speaking Japanese.
The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Nice to have you along. Hope you're having a nice little Thursday. Is it Thursday?
You are correct.
It's Rop and Suk. I'm Rop. Big Suk right over there.
Right here.
Oh, dude.
Look at him.
Not wearing a salmon on my head.
Championship weekend look ahead is coming up. Big one in the NFC West. And boy, I tell you, this is my favorite topic of the day. We saved the best for last.
The topic du jour.
10 things to watch out for in the upcoming Oregon boys wrestling season.
Oh, what?
What?
Did you get an email today?
No, I saw it on Oregon Live, and I thought it was so funny that I put it in my notes. No, I mean, not funny. I'm not making fun of the wrestling.
You are making fun
well,
of the
I
wrestling.
mean, who? First of all,
making fun of it.
who on earth has 10 things to watch out for in Oregon boys wrestling? And second, who is that for? Who is reading that?
Parents of wrestlers.
So you're doing an article for 75 people? 275 people?
More like 750.
Be careful. I remember once we were talking about Oregon volleyball, and we kind of said the same thing, and Jason Swigard was sitting in there, and that son of a bitch started going off about, like, all the marquee matchups and players of Oregon.
Here's the situation.
Of Oregon, I think it was girls volleyball, and it was like, whoa.
Women's?
Women's.
Well, okay, so there's
But they're
one
not
guy.
women, they're girls.
I'm sure he would love the article.
I wonder if Swag is aware of like 7 of the 10.
Yeah.
Durden's Bank should do a quiz.
Do you think there's somebody that will open up that story and go, I knew every one of those?
Dialed
Probably.
in.
That didn't.
Yes.
I didn't learn a thing.
The local wrestling enthusiasts, the regional ones, of course.
If you know a wrestling parent, like, I mean, we did a power ranking, and I think we came to the conclusion it's like baseball parent is the most obsessed. Wrestling parent is he's underrated. Wrestling dads, because you always see that wrestling dad goes out on the mat and like assaults referees.
And he's keeping tabs on who should be in what weight classes and who might be cutting corners and
So
stuff.
what do you think one of the 10 things to watch out for in the upcoming Oregon boys wrestling season is?
I'm gonna say the returning state champs, Central Catholic.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah,
Do you know who won?
No.
Let's find out.
Who the hell won? I don't know.
Well, you're a sports guy.
Doesn't Central Catholic win everything? It's Central Catholic or Wesleyan or Jesuit. I don't know. One of the rich schools.
I'm going to go Jesuit.
You go Jesuit? Yeah.
Let's see here.
I'll go with one of the more maybe like rural. So let me go with like.
Yeah, but that's going to be like 2A.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I guarantee like North Medford won something.
Sure. Exactly. I was thinking along those lines.
Buck's onto something.
What?
I have the 6A.
It's going to be like Oregon City or Clackamas or something like that.
It's our friends out in Newburgh.
There you go.
The damn Newburgh. Yeah.
They're always tossing the hay bales around.
Yeah.
Newburgh 6A, Dallas 5A.
Yeah, there's a theme here.
Sweet Home 4A, Harrisburg 3A.
I'll tell you what, those city candy ass boys, they can't mess with them.
Now 2023 6A was won by Westland.
Oh, well, see,
you were close.
I was close.
Yeah, but Newburgh in 2022 and 2020.
Those rich kids from Westland didn't know it hit them when the Newburgh Warhawks.
So I know
something.
You're going to have to sit through some football talk, but we will get to 10 things to watch out for in the upcoming Oregon boys wrestling season.
I want their.
Wait, can you tell us what one of those things is?
Yeah.
No, I haven't opened the article
You just
yet.
wet my whistle with just one?
That's right. No, oh no. Well, okay, I can look for it.
Is girls wrestling a thing yet? I heard it was becoming a thing.
I think they don't they just wrestle with the boys?
Oh, do they? I thought there was enough interest they were going to give the girls their own division and all that.
Yeah, playing with the boys.
I do know that there are at times girls that wrestle with boys.
It's behind a paywall, bro.
Get your 12-foot ladder.
That thing's gone now.
Yeah, you can't. It never works.
Oh, find another workaround.
Dude, I've tried. A lot of those things don't work anymore. They're actually making you pay for content.
Maybe it's time to grab a hold of your little step ladders and go ahead and climb out of my ass for a while.
And by the way, of all the things that you're required to pay for, you want me to pay for the 10 things?
Right.
I have to subscribe for the high school wrestling content.
We would have to pay $5 for a day pass to get that content.
A day
let me
pass?
tell you something.
$5 better give me the whole month.
I'm not doing it.
Day pass.
And you're not making any money, Oregon Live.
I got an issue with the day pass.
By the way, I got big updates on this. I got multiple sources here.
Yeah.
Central Catholic and Jesuit don't even have wrestling programs.
Oh.
My guess is
bad pick by you.
My guess is Jesus doesn't approve. It's a lot of man-on-man stuff. They can't have it. The Lord.
Interesting.
You got to leave room for the Holy Spirit in between bodies. It's not cutting it in wrestling.
All right, right now, though, we got to get to some secondary topics. The Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food. Discover Victorico's new savory menu items. Order in-store, online, or get it delivered straight to your door at victoricos.com.
No, I'm not going to give you no cookie.
Number 5.
Just wait till we get the text from Jesuit guy. We didn't have a program or we'd be dominant.
They just shut us down because we're so good.
So we don't even have a program.
Call me when someone goes on a vision quest, all right? That's all I care about. Who's wrestling shoot?
Are you mad that Luis Severino is gone?
I was a little disappointed that we, if you don't know.
And he's not only gone, he's going to the A's.
That was kind of the weird thing. Like, he was a monster for the Mets last year. And I just kind of was, if you're going to lose him, you lost him to the A's?
Yeah, the A's have handed out their most expensive contract in franchise history. And it's a rather meager 3 years, $67 million.
Doesn't that say something that's the most expensive contract in A's history?
To Mets starter Luis Severino, 11 wins, 3.91 ERA a year ago. Now, there are reports that the Mariners are interested in trading for Phillies third baseman Alex Bohm. He hit 280 with 97 ribbies. He was an all-star this past season.
So he'll hit 212 with 12 home runs and 47 RBI.
Boy, if that isn't an absolutely perfect candidate to do a lot worse in Seattle than they did in Philly.
I guarantee if he ends up going there, that we will, at some point next year, be looking at what the hell happened to him.
Big 12 awards, Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham, Coach of the Year.
Can't argue.
No. Him or Matt Campbell, probably, right? Yeah. Certainly not Lance Leipold. Bum. Colorado Stars, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. Georgia is taking on Texas in the SEC title game. The Bulldogs are hoping to get star running back Trevor Etienne back. He had 3 tutties in the first meeting. So, cool.
Done here?
We got a mute over there.
I was busy reading about
Number 3.
117th in offense. That's not good enough for UCLA. They want to be in the top 100.
Well, did you see this? There's weird conflicting stories about this.
They have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy.
So you haven't seen this.
Well, they said Indiana co-offensive coordinator Tino Sunseri.
I have seen this, Kasuk.
Is expected to accept the gig. What am I missing?
So Eric,
his agent says he didn't get fired.
Yeah, his agent is saying he didn't get fired. His agent is saying that the only reason that Bieniemy took that job in the first place is that he was kind of in between jobs. He wanted to stay busy.
He was getting paid by the Commanders.
And he said Foster is basically like Bieniemy's little brother, so he took the job with the understanding it would only be a 1-year job.
Help him out for his first season.
And so they're saying that Bieniemy left of his own accord to go apply at NFL jobs.
Oh, okay.
But
it doesn't necessarily add up.
Yeah.
So we're like, did you actually leave on your own?
What's up with that guy?
Well,
apparently people hate him.
Yeah, he's an ass, right?
People just don't like him. Treats people poorly.
A number of years ago, and I do think people should apologize because there were a lot of people that were called racist.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And then that the only reason he wasn't getting a job was because the color of his skin. And it turns out the dude just is an ass.
He's miserable to work with.
People don't like.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Inside Carolina reports the great Bill Belichick is interviewed for the North Carolina opening, vacated by Mac Brown.
We were just talking about this the other day, that for places like Carolina or what was the other one, like West Virginia, these are the only sort of jobs that a guy like Bill Belichick is going to get.
Others to reportedly interview are Tulane coach John Sumrall and Georgia defensive coordinator Glenn Schumann.
And I will tell you right now, I'd rather have either one of those guys, and this sounds crazy. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, and if I was North Carolina, I would want nothing to do with him.
Now, by the ROP kind of Coach Holmgren logic, does that mean that we should bet Army against Tulane?
No, I would not bet Army because I think initially, it's interesting you asked that. I was just looking at that today. I'm like, I want to bet Tulane because
you find those spots. You're good at finding those spots.
Well, Tulane beat Navy 35-0. Like, and this guy Sumrall's played one of the academies every year, and he kicks the crap out of him. They don't score on him, and the spread's only 4. But I'm not going to bet it. I'm not betting Army, but I'm not going to bet it because he could be 1 foot out the door. And if he is,
and that's what I'm saying.
And this is it at West Point. I'm not touching it. But
by the way, he is more than one. He will not
Yeah.
be the coach at Tulane next year.
And he's a good coach, man.
Yeah.
That guy, he's got a lot of Dan Lanning in him.
Yeah.
Kind of intense.
That's why he ain't staying at Tulane.
Packers visiting the Lions Thursday Night Football. This is not counting Aiden Hutchinson, but Detroit is down 3 on the defensive front due to injury. They had to sign 3 guys off of other teams' practice squads.
They have 18 guys on IR, 14 of them on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, there's no one in the NFL that's dealing
How
with
many
this
are
right
supposed to come back either by season's end or by the playoffs?
Some of it is kind of up in the air. They're going to get some back. Some obviously are season ending. Like they just lost Malcolm Rodriguez to a season ender. Obviously Aiden Hutchinson's out for the year, but some hopefully will come back. But it is a mash unit. And their best offensive lineman, Decker, is out of this one again.
It is just underway. The Lions winning the first meeting in Green Bay 24-14. Championship weekend look ahead is coming up next. This Hot 5 at 5 brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, a hit with the whole family. Order in-store, online, or delivered to your door at victorricos.com. When you think of flavor, think of Victor Rico's. This is The Fan. He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butter Hogs.
Check out the Fan merch
By Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
On 1080 The Fan.
There's been some speculation about Urban Meyer returning to Ohio State.
Yeah. He had to come out and release a statement.
Yeah, he put a statement out today saying that he has no interest in returning to coaching.
No.
At all.
Well, I don't blame him. I mean, his reputation is mud. It almost killed him multiple times. He's probably making a ton of money doing the broadcast stuff. He's already made a ton of money. He's won 3 national championships. Like, what more does that guy have to come back to?
Well, the game has changed so much, too.
Exactly.
He may not want any part of this NIL world.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would.
Well, and maybe it's, too, that, you have to say it. But, I mean, Ryan Day, and he's 60 years old, but, I mean, he's obviously friendly with Ryan Day. I mean, he was on his staff. He's the one that, that took over for Urban. So the fact that he released a statement saying he doesn't want the job probably means that he will be the next coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. But, I mean, look, if Lincoln Riley had to address the fact that Central Florida came calling, I guess Urban probably should address the fact that.
Did Lincoln say something about that?
Yeah, he kind of scoffed.
He said, "I'm a USC
I'm
Trojan."
USC Trojan through and through, and
Central Florida.
Central Florida.
God, man.
I think the idea is Central Florida knew that the buyout for USC was ridiculous, and so it was the idea of, hey, if the buyout's the only thing keeping you, maybe we help you out with that. But turns out Lincoln Riley does not want to go to Central Florida.
All right, let's get into some of these championship games. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know why we need this weekend, but whatever.
I mean, I guess the buys the reason why we need them is because there's a bunch of money.
Yeah, I get it.
That's on the line.
But I'd rather just fast forward to a 16-team tournament.
Would be nice.
Let's get this thing underway.
Yeah. Although it'd be weird. I guess you used to, but before title games, you used to have co-champions. I mean, you'd have a lot of co-champions. Like, for instance, Penn State. Yeah. Well, I guess it wouldn't be, because Oregon's undefeated. Never mind.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a co.
That wouldn't be co. But because I thought, well, Ohio State lost in the non-conference, but they didn't. But yeah, back in the day, there used to be co-champions all the time.
Yeah, I'm looking here. SEC would not be a co-champion, right? Because Texas only lost once. But they lost to Georgia.
They lost to Georgia.
But Georgia lost more conference games. So
yeah, there's still only a one-loss team.
Yeah,
right?
Texas would technically be that champion. SMU would certainly be the ACC champion.
Yep, their only loss would be to BYU.
The Big 12 would be a tie. That's Arizona State and Iowa State. They have the identical records.
And if there's conference ties,
actually, it would be a 4-way tie if you look at because they did tiebreakers to get those two teams.
Yeah,
BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, and Arizona State are all 7-2 in the league.
Obviously, a tie. A tie.
Honestly, at this point, I know conference titles. By the way, the Lions their offense is so good. They hot knife through butter the first series, just right down the Packers' throats. Now we'll see if they can stop anyone. But in this world now of expanded playoffs, 12 teams, and like you said, if we got rid of this, maybe we could go to 16. Do conference titles really mean, like, if Oregon wins tomorrow, or I guess that'd be Saturday, if they win and then get bounced in their first game, does anyone really care that they won the Big Ten?
Well, actually, I think that's the one scenario where I would say it's cool that at least they're Big Ten champions.
Yeah,
they won because obviously you get bounced in the first round. That's a home game. You lose. Well, it actually wouldn't be a home game.
Neutral.
They wouldn't play in the first round. So you're saying they would get bounced in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I'm saying if you get bounced in your first playoff game, the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think it's nice to be
Is that a feather in your cap?
I think it's nice to be the Big Ten champ. That said, I think it's more important to everyone right now that they win this game for seeding as opposed to bragging rights.
I guess that's my thing. And then let's flip it. Let's say you lose to Penn State. You're not the Big Ten champs, but you make a run and you end up playing for a national title. You don't win. Isn't that better? I don't know the significance of conference championships anymore. I really don't.
Well, I think a lot of people are questioning that. And, again, college football moves at a snail's pace.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they're going to potentially work against you like they might in SMU's case.
Well, yeah. So I think they'll eventually figure this out. I mean, I think the one area where the championship would, if you were able to balance the schedules, where these leagues, where they all played each other and you just played it out on the field, you didn't have to have a championship game. Yeah. That would be freaking cool. Because then you could get rid of championship games. No one would care, because if you all play 8 league games and you all play each other, there's only 7 other teams. It's perfect. But these leagues have freaking 20 teams in them.
Because I guess the conference title game, I mean, I guess it comes into play for teams like Arizona State, for teams like Clemson, UNLV. that I mean, you get a chance, right? Even if you've lost some games early, you get a chance to kind of resurrect your season and one chance to win it all. It's like the old basketball, the NCAA basketball version of this. And I've always hated that in some of these smaller conferences, you can get a team that wins like 27 games, the best team all year. And then they lose one game in their conference tournament and they don't get to go.
Yeah.
Because that league's only getting one berth. Like, and I know that it's a little apples to oranges here, but I just wonder where the conference title games are going to go as this thing kind of rolls on.
Well, you should probably just get rid of them, make the tournament 16 teams. You know, the other thing that nobody's really talking about, you realize these games for Oregon, let's say if Oregon wins, they don't play again until the 1st of January.
I know, it's weird.
So
That's like the old bowl games.
If you just get well, I guess it is, but that's ridiculous when that's still just the first, their first game of the tournament.
Yeah.
When the old bowl games, that was the last game.
Yeah.
So they got to move everything up, and if you get rid of championship weekend, we can go right into a 16-team tournament this weekend.
Because I will say that one of the biggest problems is the idea of a month off. There's just no other.
It's too much.
It's too much. It's too much. I get it. You want to give a team a bye or whatever. That's fine. But it's always been. I've always found that, especially back in the day when there was no playoff, just the idea that you took a month off and then you rolled out on the field and was like, all right, now we decided. I mean, that's just such a long-ass layoff.
Just the extra week, like between the Super Bowl or the extra week before the college football championship is just too much. It's because you lose momentum for your sport.
Yes.
Back when it was just that one singular game, the teams would have to wait like 47 days between their last game and the title. It was crazy.
Absurd.
Yeah. Because everyone would end around this time, and then they, national title the 10th or the 13th.
So that's the one thing I'll say is that this system may not be perfect, but God, it's so much better than
they're getting there.
They're getting there. It just takes a while. And everyone says this is a 2-year experiment. And at the end of this 2 years, so this is year 1, at the end of next year, this will look decidedly different. Whether that's no conference games, whether it's 16 expanded, whether the conference title games no longer, have the buys. Wait till Boise gets a bye. And that's not going to happen again. I guarantee that the powers that be aren't going to stand for that. Brett Yormark, who's the Big 12 commissioner, of course, now he's all fired up. You see, he's all pissing and moaning, yelling and screaming at everybody.
Like, might hear from him in the next branded report.
Yeah, like no one's happy. Everyone just is constantly in a state of bitching and moaning about this. And eventually the kinks are going to get worked out.
All right, coming up next, let's go through the games. Starts with UNLV Boise tomorrow night. We'll get through all the championship weekend contests when we return. But first, Buck with SportsCenter.
This is Big Ten Championship Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, Week 14 in the NFL kicking off tonight with the Lions hosting the Packers on Thursday Night Football. And Detroit is already on the board. They're up 7-0, courtesy of a David Montgomery touchdown. The Packers now with the ball on their first possession. Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams earned NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors for his monster performance against the Jets on Sunday. He had a 92-yard pick six and a pair of sacks. Meanwhile, former Duck Bucky Irving wins NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors, racking up 185 all-purpose yards in Tampa's win over the Panthers on Sunday. On the college gridiron, the UCLA Bruins have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after just one season with the program, though Bieniemy's agent says that leaving the college ranks after one season was always part of his client's plan. In surprising baseball news, Luis Severino signs a 3-year, $67 million deal with the Athletics. It's the largest contract in franchise history. And down in Eugene, Oregon baseball coach Mark Wasikowski has signed a 3-year contract extension. He's now under contract with the Ducks through 2029. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
The committee clearly focuses on the wins and loss column. Going by that principle, no 3-loss team from a Power 4 conference should get a bye over a 2-loss champion from the Big 12. I'm going to say that again. No 3-loss team from a Power 4 conference should get a bye over a 2-loss champion from the Big 12.
Okay, Brett. Is anybody listening to these? Because the Mountain West lady, the commissioner of the Mountain West, came out and said whoever wins their game should get a bye. Does anybody listen to
That's great.
these
Are all these comments falling on deaf ears?
Yeah, because the committee doesn't care, okay? They're just going to...
They're doing whatever they want.
That's right.
Which means probably putting Alabama in.
So shut up. Who's leading the charge? Powered by Battery Exchange. Mention code BXT10 at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase this month. Online at batteryexchange.com.
Taste the warmth of the season with Victorico Mexican Foods.
at 5.6 yards per carry. So I feel like Arizona State can control this game, but Iowa State's really well coached. So that could be a barn burner. That's at 9 o'clock.
By the way, Westland's own Sam Levitt.
He's doing great.
Pulling the strings down there.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Georgia, Texas, SEC. It's a rematch from earlier this year where Georgia won 30-15. That's at 1 o'clock on ABC. I mean, what can you say? An excellent matchup.
This is an excellent matchup. And I think for a lot of people, like, Texas checks all the boxes, but it's hard to eliminate just how bad they played it in the first half. In the second half, it was, I think they may have actually outscored Georgia.
No, they won the second half.
They won the second half.
Yeah.
So that first half where it just spiraled out of control. And remember, that was the one where they sat down Quinn Ewers and they tried to get a spark with Arch Manning, and it didn't really happen there. So I think I think Texas has a chance to come out. It's because they're in either way, right? Texas and Georgia are both going. That much we know. But I think Texas, even though Oregon's the undefeated team, and I think Oregon's the most complete team, I think Texas here has a chance, at least from a national narrative perspective, and certainly with Vegas, to kind of grab this thing by the throat and be like, we're the best team.
Yeah, they certainly do.
Yeah.
And I think this game, this is a great, I mean, come on, man.
It's everything you could want.
Yes.
In a neutral site game at Atlanta.
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. And that helps Georgia. But I just feel like it comes down to the quarterbacks. Yeah. And neither have been that great. I know Beck has been a lot better in the last 4 or 5 games, but in the first game he threw 3 picks, and Georgia still won by double digits.
Yep.
I just don't think Texas is going to get overwhelmed by Georgia like they did in the first half of the first game. So I imagine this comes down to whether Quinn Ewers, who got freaking lit up by Georgia in that game, if Quinn Ewers can be the Quinn Ewers that we thought he would be, or we think he is, Texas is going to win this game. Because let's be honest, Texas's defense is just better than Georgia's offense.
Yeah.
It just is.
It is.
Because Brock Bowers isn't out there.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy that they lost? Weapon, Georgia, gone. Michi? Is that his name? Mechie. He's gone. Carson Beck looks worse because he just doesn't have a lot of studs to throw to, at least like the guys before. And Texas is going to I just feel like Texas's defense is going to be a problem for Georgia. But then on the other side, Quinn Ewers has got to be good. So I really do feel like it comes down to the quarterbacks.
Well, and remember they're Texas's best offensive lineman, the first round pick, Kelvin Banks, got hurt against Texas A&M, and his status is up in the air. So that's a big one too, because Ewers can get rattled. And you're right. Yeah. This may just come down to simply what quarterback doesn't screw up.
Yeah, because Ewers, they boat raced A&M,
yeah,
but Ewers kept him in the game.
Yes.
And the interception wasn't really his fault. It was a tip ball, but he has terrible pocket presence. Yep. And then on the fumble, somebody came from behind and stripped him of the ball. He's just got to take care of the ball.
Yeah.
It's
just weird that we're talking about Texas and Georgia, who came into the year with the two guys that a lot of people thought were going to be top 3 picks in the NFL draft. And both schools are kind of like, just don't screw it up.
Well, they weren't that great this year.
No, they were
Neither of them.
No.
And you wonder, too, if Ewers is not playing well, you wonder if they do go to Arch in this, because Arch has a little bit more of the running component, and that has hurt Georgia.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Ewers makes mistakes early and throws a pick, I think they'll go to Sark.
That was a surprise earlier in the year when they went away from Ewers. People it stunned them, but the fact he's done it once before makes you think he'll do it again.
Don't you think that if this game right here, I don't think this is a stretch to say that this game right here could determine whether Quinn Ewers is in the transfer portal or not.
100%.
Right here.
Yes.
Because if he does not play well, and again, they're still in the tournament even if they don't win.
Yeah.
So Sark may just stick with Ewers, but if he doesn't play well, and they put Arch in for a spark,
he's gone.
Ewers is probably gone. And he's probably quarterbacking Oregon next year.
Because I don't think he's going to go to the NFL. I don't think he's done anything to help his stock, and I think he can probably make more money in college right now. His draft stock is plummeting. So, yeah, this is a big one. And by the way, we've seen, God, Nick Saban did it in the championship game when he sat Jalen Hurts, who was a hell of a lot more accomplished than Quinn Ewers. Honestly, right now, I'm not going to say Quinn Ewers is all hype, but the legend of Quinn Ewers is a lot better than what Quinn Ewers is putting on the field. But he took him to the playoff last year, but couldn't get over the hump against Washington. And this year, it just kind of feels like, I don't know, you're waiting for maybe the other shoe to drop. And I just think it's fascinating that Georgia and Texas are playing, and both of the quarterbacks are the question mark. And you also wonder too, like with Sark, if you can kind of rely on Arch to pick up some first downs with his legs, do you kind of try to pull what Ohio State did with Will Howard and just play around the quarterback and say, hey, man, Arch, we're going to keep it real simple. Use your legs, pick up some key third downs, and we're just going to rely on our defense to choke out Georgia.
Yeah. Well, that's a great matchup. 1 o'clock ABC. When we come back, we'll talk Oregon, Penn State, and the ACC game as well on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Obviously, having a legacy, come join us here. Keely Smith's son, KJ, tremendous talent, has done a great job this season. Has won a lot of games and had a ton of success, and we're excited what he will bring here. And then also somebody he competed with in the Elite 11, and Jaron, who's, broke high school records there with Dylan in Hawaii.
Who wants to break it to the freshman quarterbacks that they got that Quinn Ewers is going to be the quarterback next year?
I don't know who's the starting quarterback, but I promise you that they will not go into next season with just the guys they have on the roster. There will be a veteran guy that will be in contention.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
The home of dirt and spray.
I love signing day, man. I do find it funny. Like, we can certainly highlight
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
On 1080 The Fan.
Slight correction. We were saying we were talking about Georgia's weapons.
Couldn't think of who the receiver was that they lost, and I couldn't
Yeah.
think of his name.
Well, Buck said Michi. That's the old Alabama guy.
Well, you said Michi, and I was just getting the pronunciation right.
Oh,
He was the guy that was in-
Lad
he-
McConkey is who we were thinking
There you
of.
go.
And
Oh,
he's
white
now
guy
with
for
the Chargers.
Michi ended up getting cancer.
That's right.
And but
Texans, right?
Yeah, with the Texans, but he's back.
So 2 more championship games, the later games. So you'll get Iowa State, Arizona State, Saturday at 9. 1 o'clock is Georgia, Texas. And then you get 2 of them at 5. And, of course, your Ducks being one of those. They play Penn State, of course, in Indianapolis.
Which we've talked about time and time again. I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've spent time on the game. We talked to Dan Lanning earlier. Look, to reset, I just don't think Penn State has enough weapons to beat Oregon. I do think they have what it takes to drag Oregon into deep water, much like Wisconsin.
I thought you said it best when you said Wisconsin, or like Penn State and Wisconsin. There's one path to victory.
Yeah, they can only win the game one way, but I do fear that they will make the game that way, and it will be a tough game. And Oregon, I think, has enough weapons to pull it out. I've been saying all along. I think the big thing for Oregon has everything at all levels, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no weakness.
No, it's the most complete team.
I think when you get to this stage of the game and moving forward into the playoff, much like we were talking about with Ewers and Carson Beck, it really comes down to your weapons. Like, as long as everything else is relatively equal on the fronts, which I think in this game it is, you look at Aller versus Gabriel, and then you look at the Oregon receivers and running backs against what Penn State's bringing to the table. It's not even close. I don't think Penn State can get enough pressure. Even if they get pressure, you're talking, they blitz. You're talking one-on-one on Ferguson, on Tez, on Stewart. Good luck, Penn State. That's why I just think Oregon's got a little bit more. But I do think this could be an interesting game. Is a reason why the spread's only 3.5. But I feel pretty confident, as I think you do too, that Oregon should win.
Yeah, when I look at Tyler Warren, who's the tight end from Penn State, and then Abdul Carter, they have the 2 best players in this game.
And Carter could be a game wrecker by himself.
And something tells me that both of those guys are going to get extra attention. The nice part about with Warren, your linebackers can run. You don't have the biggest linebackers in the world, but they all can run. So I think you're going to see a linebacker and a safety over the top wherever Ty Warren goes. I just think you're going to say someone else has to beat us.
Well, yeah, because none of the other guys really scare you,
And
right?
so Warren has 81 catches, the best tight end in America. There's next best receiver, who, by the way, may not play. He's beat up. He's got 35 catches, and then after that, it's their running back. Like, there just isn't enough. They do not have weapons on the outside. And so I think you can, kind of what you were talking about with Oregon, I think Oregon can spend a lot of attention on stopping what Penn State does. With Oregon, you're too balanced. And this is what Ohio State tried to do. Ohio State tried to come out and say, hey, we're going to play man on the outside and we're going to stop your run. And Oregon cooked them and got him out of that look real fast. And I know Penn State has a good secondary too, but Ohio State's secondary was supposed to be one of the best in the country, and they couldn't handle it. I just don't know how many people can handle what Oregon's bringing on the outside, which again goes back to, can you contain Carter on the outside, who will be by far the best defensive player you've seen. But again, I would expect Chips. I would expect Ferguson to stay in and block on some of those, or at least chip on the way out, maybe slide some protections. And
shut up.
I just think, like you said, Oregon is more of a complete team. And at the end of the day, the next time Drew Aller comes through in a big game will be the first time. And Dylan Gabriel is an old seasoned vet. And at the end of the day, when a quarterback is that much of a mismatch, I'm taking the Ducks.
Yeah, I just think this is the time of year where the big stud, your big skill guys are the difference and can be the difference. And that's why I said Texas, Georgia, same thing. And here as well. Penn State, the one thing about Penn State, we talked about this earlier, they have nothing to lose.
No.
They did not think they would be in this game.
Throw the kids to sink at them.
And even if they don't win this game, they're still in the tournament. So they may take more risks. They may scheme up some explosives or try some different things that we haven't seen. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. But Oregon should win the game. I think people will be very disappointed if they don't.
And the other thing to keep an eye on, Penn State is one of the best first and second down teams in the Big Ten, right? It's their whole MO. They are one of the worst. I think they're like 15th in the Big Ten in third and long situations, so 3rd and 6. Like, they do not convert. If Penn State gets behind chains, if there's penalties, if there's run stops on 1st and 2nd down, Drew Aller is not going to beat you on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. So I want to see if Penn State comes out and tries to establish the run, or do they come out and try to do some stuff throwing the ball early to try to avoid third and obvious passing situations, because that's going to be problematic. And Penn State, one of Penn State's best offensive linemen, their right tackle, he's out, and they got a freshman playing in there who they think may turn into something. But again, you got a young kid out there and expect to see Uyunglele and some of the other rushers. That Oregon defensive line is nasty. So this to me is a tough matchup, but we saw Penn State and Oregon go toe to toe and be decided by one play, and Penn State.
You mean Ohio State?
Oh yeah, Ohio State and Oregon, and we saw Penn State and Ohio State, same thing.
It was right down to the wire.
It was right down to the wire.
Yeah.
I mean,
Penn State is inches from being undefeated, and Oregon is inches from being one loss. And then how would we look at this?
Exactly.
Or 2.
So we both sit up here and say that we really like Oregon, but I do think that there are some Duck fans that are just kind of dismissing Penn State. And
be careful.
Be careful with that.
Yeah, but I trust them. And then last, it's SMU Clemson, which is a strange ACC title game, but it would be wild if SMU can go from they were Group of 5 last year.
Yeah.
They could go from Group of 5 to winning a Power 4 league in one season.
That they paid their way in. They didn't get $1 in TV money, and they won't for the rest of this contract. They just said, we want access to this right here.
It's also the thing that most said would never happen, including you, I think. If SMU wins, it is likely that a 3-loss team makes this tournament.
Yeah.
Alabama. Now, if SMU loses to Clemson, Clemson takes that spot.
Now it gets sticky.
And now it gets hairy because now the committee's deciding between SMU and Alabama.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
And that could get
In what world do they not take Alabama?
In a world that is absolute horse bleep. Because
they're going to take them because they want that brand in there.
The idea that you could punish SMU, who would still be a 2-loss team versus a 3-loss Alabama, and one of those losses coming in the conference title game, as bad as Florida State got jobbed last year, this would be right there with one of the biggest travesties.
And remember, the committee chair has already set you up for it. He's already told you, if you lose this game, you could move down, but if you're not playing, you won't move at all.
It's just so stupid. The idea that making a conference title game, because here's the thing, if by some weird tiebreaker SMU wasn't playing in this game, they're number 8. They're the 8th team in the country right now. If somehow in some dumb tiebreaker they weren't playing in this game, SMU would be safe. They would 100% in. They'd be Indiana. And yet there's a chance that a 3-loss Alabama team that just got their asses whipped by a 500 Oklahoma team is going to get in over them. That won't sit right with me.
Well, I don't know about the game matchup. I know that Clemson has a lot better players than SMU.
Yep.
But SMU has a mean defensive front, and when I was looking at Clemson, when they play anything with even remotely a good defensive line,
they get bullied.
Yeah, they are not good.
No.
And neither is Klubnik. So hard to pick this one. I don't know. I don't have a feel because I haven't seen enough of SMU. I just know that they're really they're obviously really good. It's just, I don't know. I'm always inclined to take the team with more, the better players.
Better players.
And Clemson has a lot of dudes.
The thing that's like you said it. If SMU has a path to this, and the reason why they'll win is that Clemson's offense folds in the face of a good front, and this SMU front is a Power 5 front.
Yeah, South Carolina. I mean, they only scored 14 points against them.
Yeah, beat them up.
All right. Well, we didn't get to 10 things to watch out for in the upcoming Oregon boys wrestling season. Damn it!
And you're gone tomorrow, so
it's over.
Maybe Monday.
Yeah, that's the good thing is we have time.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know we're going to be recapping Conference Championship weekend, but I feel like we need to carve out at least an hour.
At least. Maybe a special show?
I would think so. Special broadcast.
All right, well, let's get to the real topic, and that is an assassination.
Dude,
in broad daylight.
I am just fascinated. This is like Titanic sub for me.
It's going to make a great true crime podcast someday.
Oh, yeah.
That's next. Club 1080 on the Fan.
Auto accident? Worried about your deductible? Don't. Before
building is here.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Week 14 in the NFL kicking off this evening with the Lions hosting the Packers on Thursday Night Football. Lions currently with a 7-0 lead early in the second quarter, courtesy of a David Montgomery rushing touchdown. Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams earns NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors for his monster performance against the Jets on Sunday, getting a 92-yard pick six and a couple sacks. Meanwhile, former Duck Bucky Irving winning NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors after racking up 185 all-purpose yards in Tampa's overtime victory against the Panthers. On the college gridiron, the UCLA Bruins have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after just one season with the program, though Bieniemy's agent says that leaving the college ranks after just 1 year was always his client's plan. In surprising baseball news, Luis Severino has signed a 3-year, $67 million deal with the now residing in Sacramento Athletics. It's the largest guaranteed contract in A's franchise history. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley, the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan. The following show may contain adult themes not suitable for children.
Shut the hell up.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk.
It does go well with a chicken.
I didn't know hanging out with you was making me smarter. Full disclosure, Morty, it's not. Temporary superintelligence is just a side effect of the mega seeds dissolving in your rectal cavity. Oh, man. Yeah, and once those seeds wear off, you're going to lose most of your motor skills, and you're also going to lose a significant amount of brain functionality for 72 hours, Morty. Starting right about now.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Concrete jungle, wet green tomatoes.
I'm too dumb. I don't even think about things like that.
What would you say you do here?
Now watch this drive. They're eating the dog.
What does a giraffe sound like? Football's football. The only way to get better at it is to play football. I ran through that bull junkie rope.
Headed towards Turnville.
It's kind of douchey. Well, my.
My indeed.
Nice to have you along. Hope you're having a nice night. I really mean that.
Yeah. It's the last dry one, right? Isn't the rain coming in tomorrow?
Yeah, I think they're now saying Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah.
I got out today in the middle of the day and I got some lights up. Got the decorations up because I was fearful of the rain. Although my one of my inflatable yard decorations gave up the ghost after like 8 or 9 years.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Darth Vader. Rest in peace, inflatable Christmas Darth Vader.
Rest in peace.
And now it's a little weird because I have an inflatable stormtrooper, but now I feel kind of dumb just having an inflatable stormtrooper.
Yeah, because we wouldn't understand that.
No, it's weird.
Vader.
Why would I just have a stormtrooper out? I need Darth Vader there.
Well, I've got Hawk Girl news coming up.
Dumb bitch.
But, whoa.
Yeah. Dude, screw her.
Can you say that on the
I
radio?
just did.
You do every day.
Yeah.
Freaking punch it, bitch! She is an aloof bitch.
She went
resourceful little bitch.
She went
resourceful
from
little bitch.
an adorable moron.
Ooh, the double.
Whatever.
She's a grade A bitch.
Good for her for capitalizing on her 15 minutes, but dude, this right here,
grade A
her ass goes to prison.
Prime bitch. She is an aloof bitch. Well, we'll get to that. But first, the story of the day. Topic du jour.
Oh, yeah.
This viral video.
I thought we were talking about my inflatable Santa and what I'm going to replace it with.
The United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, gunned down on city streets.
I hate to say this, but I've watched that video 30 times.
In broad daylight.
I can't.
It's crazy.
I can't stop watching.
The video is out there. Basically, he is leaving his hotel. I think he's in New York, right?
Yeah.
He's leaving his hotel to go to a meeting. It's like a little before 7 in the morning.
Yep. Basically, all he had to do was walk across the street.
Yeah.
He was walking down the sidewalk, and some kid comes up with a hoodie and a backpack. Silencer, has the subsonic rounds, apparently.
Yep.
and just bam, assassination hit right there on the sidewalk. There's a woman there. She runs off.
Yeah, there's a person there just drinking a cup of coffee.
Crazy, dude.
They say that the hoodie guy, the assassin, had been waiting there possibly all night. He's been hanging out, and you see him, he shoots him. The gun jams. He calmly walks over, clears the jam, reloads the gun with the bullet that was jammed because there were special bullets, and then caps him a couple more times, heads to an alley, jumps on an e-bike, and they have no idea who this dude is.
See, like, can we talk about the e-bike part?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
Seems pretty smart, actually.
A lot of elements to talk about here. Well, but if the movies have taught me anything, it's not a freaking e-bike that the assassin jumps on.
Well,
it's a kick-ass, unmarked, like, black SUV.
But this is kind of brilliant because how you know.
As long as somebody else had checked that e-bike out, it's never getting traced back
Dude,
to you.
They're going to find that guy. They already have his
I think
picture.
they'll find that guy.
They don't have his picture.
They do.
But right now, that e-bike thing worked for him.
Have you seen, by the way, this is the other one. I'm going full conspiracy
And
here.
trying to escape like Midtown Manhattan in traffic in a car, not great. Better on a bike.
That's true.
They've revealed, they've gone with, I've seen 3 different photos. He's wearing a different backpack. Apparently, is he changing back? And the other one looks like a woman. I don't think they have any idea who this dude is.
Well, there is a photo of, they put out a photo of who they think it is. And he looks like, I don't know, he just looks like a bro with good hair.
He looks hot.
Yeah, slightly handsome. Maybe not as handsome as me.
Yeah.
But handsome. Young. And,
Professional.
And the shell casings on the ground had the words deny, defend, and depose. Now, that's interesting because many people believe that refers to what some think is a motto for insurance companies, which is delay, deny, and defend.
Yes.
In other words, why this is interesting is that Brian Thompson, the head of United Healthcare, which, by the way, is the largest private health insurer in the United States, they are notorious for denying claims. As a matter of fact, there are some stats out there that they have the largest denial rate of all insurance companies at 32%.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, was this just someone who lost a family member because they were denied or something happened with their...
It's like something out of a movie, man.
So
like
we don't
V
know.
for Vendetta stuff.
I mean, I like to think that he's a hired hitman.
Yeah. But I don't...
But it's hard to say.
No.
It's hard to say, fella.
This kind of just feels like, someone had enough of the healthcare companies. And by the way, this is where I was saying, like...
But as someone that looks like a professional hitman?
I mean, is it a professional...
Does he?
I
You're
don't
saying
know.
he doesn't?
I think
Because
he
I don't
does.
think he does.
I think he looks... The way he looks so calm and, like, easygoing about this and all the waiting. Like, he looks like he's done this before.
He just looks a little young.
He does look young, but it doesn't look like he's flustered or, like, deranged or upset.
That
like,
is true. Like, he had
He's
no...
calm as a cucumber.
He had absolutely no care in the world about witnesses or anything.
And the fact his gun jammed, you'd think he'd run off. He's like, "No, I'll fix it. I'll go
just
shoot him again."
Bam, dead, cold-blooded.
Yeah, and just the idea that, again, this just kind of is one of those things that just sends me down rabbit holes because it just goes to show you, dude, I don't care who you are. Anyone can get to you. That poor bastard had zero chance. You're like, oh, security measures. Someone just walks up behind you and you are cooked. Just no warning, no nothing. You just going about your day and you take one to the back and then a couple others. Ew.
Well, it's weird because, first of all, the video of him being murdered is right there online. And so he has a kid, apparently, that will eventually see that. I mean, it's going to live there forever.
Yep.
Which is sad. And some are celebrating because they hate United Healthcare.
And that's what I said is the weird part is, like, so we watched a guy in cold blood get gunned down, and I feel like the vast majority of people are like this. Kind of had it coming. I mean, it also sparked a thing. It turned out like that same day, there was was it Blue Cross Blue Shield? One of the other big ones. I think it was Blue Cross.
I think you're right.
Blue Cross. They now said that they are only going to cover certain a time limit on your anesthesia.
Yeah, they're going to cap anesthesia.
So if you're having surgery and it goes longer than a certain period of time, you're now paying for the anesthesia.
You're the one on the hook, even
you're
though you
the one
have
on
no
the
say
hook
in it.
for the anesthesia. And of course, that didn't sit well with people. And what did people start doing? They started posting the CEO, who was a lady, her name and her home address. And by the way, they were doing it right below the video and right below the information on this United Healthcare person that just got assassinated. I mean, you want to talk about like some scary stuff and like copycats and all that. You want to heating up the whole healthcare debate.
Saw a lot of snarky comments that like I'd send my thoughts and prayers, but they didn't get pre-authorized and things like that. And you're like, oof.
Dude, this is straight out of like a movie where like a group of people get tired of dealing with.
Denzel had a movie, John Q. It was like this. His kid couldn't get the transplant. He held the whole hospital hostage.
Yeah, we're done. And it's this idea now, because there's all these stories now, like all day today I was reading about how I think 4 people, it's like Musk in Gates, Bezos, and I forget who the other one. The 4 richest people in the United States now have over $1 trillion worth of worth.
Well, Gates isn't one of those.
It's not Gates?
Matt Gates? Oh.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, I was thinking you were talking about Matt Gates.
You're going down the political rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No. That for the first time in history, 4 people control that amount of percentage.
No, Matt Gates not a billionaire.
No. And this idea that, and so all these different articles about this is when like revolution starts to happen and this is when people kind of rise up. And, most of the time I read that stuff and I'm like, whatever, dude. Just, it's all, people are always like sending out like these, this is where the whole thing collapses. I'll tell you what, if healthcare CEOs start getting bumped off, it may get some people's attention. It's just, the whole story is fascinating.
Well, what if you knew the kid and you saw the photo?
Yeah. And
you had no idea he was a hitman. What if he's like a computer nerd at your work? And you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
from accounting.
I don't know what you do. I mean,
well, you call the cops.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Well, but that's the thing is, if someone knows him and those photos are accurate, and they're saying, they're closing in on at least a name or whatever. I mean,
yeah, they're gonna get him.
They'll get him.
The question is, will we ever find out why he did it or who hired him or what the real story is?
Does he have a specific grievance, or is this on behalf of somebody? And
well, he could lie. I mean,
of course.
Or or he could die. Like, I mean, he could. Very easily.
You'd imagine there'd be some sort of paper trail or digital trail of communications.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe we hear nothing because he's a clandestine black ops.
Hell yeah.
I'm guessing lone gunman.
Are you? That's usually what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we all want whether, the guy that shot Trump, or any of the other presidential assassin people, we all want this to be, like you said, the Tom Clancy novel, but for the most part, it's usually just, it's some dude and he's pissed off and he decides to go lone wolf. And I told you I went down a rabbit hole when the Trump shooting happened and started reading some stuff on a security expert. And he said that is by far the harder one to stop. He said, when you get groups involved and you get conspiracies and you get into the whole plotting thing, that's where you can pick it up. He said the truly scary ones are where it's one person that doesn't say anything.
Keeps it all to themselves.
And they said the reason why people always want to believe in conspiracies or whatever, because it's scary to think about if one person decides that they want to do something and they don't tell anyone else, it's almost impossible to stop them. If someone decides, just one random person who doesn't put it online, doesn't make any threats, and they go out and get a gun or get a bomb, strap it to their chest, whatever, and they just shut up and decide to go about that mission, there's really not a whole lot you can do to stop it. And that scares the living daylights out of people because you always want to feel like you have some element of control. But like in this, you got nothing.
Which fan personality is most likely a hitman?
Well, like they always joke about like Danny hiding bodies and stuff, but he talks too publicly about it. It's going to be someone that you wouldn't.
He's too obvious.
He's too obvious. It'd be someone that you would. It's going to be quiet. That you wouldn't think anything about. The best one.
Here's the situation.
Yeah,
Is
again,
it Jeff Rust?
That's where I was going. Was Jeff Rust?
He'd be the least assuming for sure.
Because Jeff is a principled man.
Yes,
for sure.
And
politically motivated.
Yeah, he's always. I think he's.
Yeah. And Rust is a guy that could.
He's got little girls though.
He could blend in, and you wouldn't think twice. Jeff Rust could go anywhere, and no one would think twice.
That's true. Always has his backpack, very unassuming.
Yes, he just seems like a jovial sort of fella, right up until he shivs you.
Is Jeff Rust a hitman?
Secret life.
An expose. All right. Why the internet wants Hawk Tuah girl in jail. Next on The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube, Twitch,
Well, we have Hawk to a girl controversy. It's not going well for her right now.
This thing, hopefully, that finally gets her to go away forever.
Spit on that thing.
Well, you remember Haley Welch?
Oh, yeah.
Hawk to a girl.
Do it. Just the most random,
very random
celebrity.
Just a cute little bumpkin
that I can think of. Was that some bachelorette thing or whatever in the streets of Nashville, drunk, and said, spit on that thing?
It really is the most random. I mean, a lot of people get notoriety. I won't say fame, but notoriety in really odd, random ways. But this might take the cake.
Reminds me a little bit of the What Are Those kid. You know, the What Are Those shoes? Like,
What are those?
that
But are
was
they
so
really-
random. I mean, they're not famous like her, though.
I was going to say, they're not even close to her.
But the Dan Daniel kid.
She's got Talk to a podcast now.
Which, by the way, she might be the dumbest person to ever have a podcast, and that's saying something. She's a sweet kid, but she's dumber than a sack of hammers.
Well, you should hear her try to talk about fraud on Twitter Spaces.
Oh, boy. Is she talking about this now?
Well, yeah, she
People
has
have
to.
called her out, so she's had
Yeah,
to.
they want her in jail. So here's
Yeah.
what happened. So she's actually done a pretty nice job of capitalizing on her 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
And there was a Hawk coin. She called it it's a crypto coin. She called it Hawk coin. She was doing a podcast because she announced that her podcast is on Jake Paul's sports betting network or whatever.
Yeah.
And during that, she announced that she had Hawk coin coming out, and you, as a fan, could buy it and invest in it.
Yeah.
A crypto coin, right? Well, predictably, it went very poorly. And so it immediately launched. This was yesterday. It reached $490 million market value. That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. It's stunning to me that anyone, and I mean anyone, wanted to buy a cryptocurrency from Hawk to a girl, but they did.
There's a whole group of people that just chase these meme coins. It's a wild world.
Yeah.
Just a few hours later, the value of the coin had crashed. People were selling in mass. Right now, it looks like it's hovering around 28 million. From 490 million to 28 million, about a 95% drop.
Yeah.
And of course, this has happened before. This happened with the jiggly booby sports betting
Walking
lady.
Bets Taylor Mathis, yeah.
Yeah, and she had to come out and be like, I didn't know. And I haven't seen what Haley Welch has said. I'm still catching up. But a lot of people want her in jail because they lost a lot of money.
Well, what happened is that there was a handful of accounts, all linked, obviously, to the people that were launching the coin. They had 97% of the currency.
Yeah, for working on and developing the coin, they got a ton of the coin's inventory, never had to put any of their own money into it at all. And then basically when it got to a certain point, they all sold and they all screwed over everybody who had just jumped in on
Yeah,
it.
it's called a pump and dump. It's
Yes.
happened before. And
A rug pull.
And to your point, I don't get why people don't think that this is one of those, because I do think they use people like the jiggly boob sports betting lady and Hawk to a girl. I think they use them in their fan bases because they don't know any better to put these out there.
Yeah.
Easy targets, yeah.
It's just because I actually believe her. She knew nothing about this.
If you are buying a crypto coin because of Walking Bet's boobs or spitting on it, that is not that's not financial.
I'm just saying, I think they use her. I feel like they present something to her where she's like, okay, I'll put my name on this. And of course that's the key, and has no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah.
She's too dumb. You called her the dumbest person to ever host a podcast. She had no idea this was a pump and dump. If she did, she wouldn't do it because now she's in a lot of hot water.
Well, those people that were doing the crypto, who is it that were advertising, like Tom Brady and all those people. Look, if they investigated this and it turned out that this was a premeditated thing, obviously this can be illegal. And the fact that you were the face of it and it's named after you, she could be in some serious trouble.
Well, I know she's in serious trouble. What I'm saying is I don't think she had a clue.
I guarantee she didn't.
And I don't think
she doesn't know how all this works.
No, exactly. And I don't think the big boobied sports betting lady had a clue either.
Nope.
Well,
that's what they do is they use these people's fan bases to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And they're clueless. They're like, oh, this is cool. I'll launch a crypto coin.
And those people think they're getting rich based off of themselves, but they're just
Correct.
getting leverage to make other people rich and other people poor.
That is correct.
Yeah, she's in total PR spin now, trying to.
Well, you know how they have those Twitter spaces where users can hop on and listen to conversations that like groups are having?
Yeah.
They were holding one for her coin yesterday, and people were just coming after her about like, what do you pay your developers, the ones that you gave all these coins to, that sold it and made all this money, that cost us everything? And she's like, well, I have to go to bed, guys. See you later. And she just hopped off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of people on there saying I bought $35,000 worth of coins. They're now worth $1,000, and this, it's bad.
And again,
it's hard to have sympathy.
Yes, some of that's on you, you moron.
Yes.
What the hell are you doing? Buying
Play stupid
hot
games,
coin?
win stupid prizes.
Well, she said she's copying and pasting. She wrote this because obviously somebody told her this. Yeah. Hawkonomics, she said, team hasn't sold one token and not one KOL was given one free token. We tried to stop snipers as best we could through high fees in the start of the launch. Fees have now been dropped.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. I wonder if this is enough to finally... I mean, these things are fickle when you get these kind of your 15 minutes of fame, and I just am stunned that people keep buying into crap that she's a part of, and I wonder if this finally puts an end to it. Well, hopefully she made a bunch of money, because I don't know where she goes from here.
Well, she goes to OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
There's a guy by the name of Jack Forge on social media, and he's great. He said this before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
He said when someone runs out of their 15 minutes, they have 3 options and 3 options only. 1, OnlyFans.
Yeah.
2, political grifter. 3, crypto scam.
Well, we got one of them.
How spot on is that?
It's pretty good.
I can't think of another, and those are all aces.
And I'd like to say that she couldn't possibly win public office, but Boebert and
Herschel Walker damn near
did it. So, the crypto scheme, I'm sure she made a bunch of money, and I'm sure if she did an OnlyFans, she would make millions. She would have that in her hip pocket.
She could do it.
Yeah.
She probably didn't want to.
Said she wouldn't, but
she'll eventually be on there.
Yeah.
A thought from the YouTube chat: everybody expecting some flyover state kid to know everything about everything, then calling her a bitch is kind of a jerk.
I agree, Sook.
No.
Jerk.
Dude, when you want to be a lovable idiot, sure, but you put your name behind a crypto scheme that cost people, dumb or not, cost people their life savings and defrauded people out of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's despicable.
And I don't think she had any idea that that's what was happening.
It's certainly despicable. The question is did she know? And there's no chance she knew. She's just too
And
dumb.
I bet the developers knew, but they didn't tell. They left her in the dark on it on purpose so that it's her
And I'm
holding
not
the bag.
saying she shouldn't get in trouble. She should. It's her name. You screwed up. But you're an idiot.
Yeah, you can't just claim negligence or whatever. Like, you're part of this, but at the same time, she can't have known too much.
Well, it's one of those things that if you didn't know, then you were too dumb. What's the old casino? Either two things happened. Either you were too dumb and you should be fired, or you were in on it and you should be arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I think it's the prior.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is a girl who said this.
Concrete jungle, wet dream tomato.
Yeah. You telling me she knew what the hell she was doing?
I don't know. The idea that you would attach your name to something like this and then you're just, I don't know. I find it hard to believe, but you bring up a valid point, because I did say that I do think that she is dumber than a sack of hammers.
Meanwhile, she's brilliant and orchestrating a crypto scam.
Well, you know that she is in charge of nothing in her life. That is one thing that I will buy. Everything from the podcast, all of that. She has a team of handlers that have been working this from
They
day
tell
one.
her, show up, talk, here's what you're going to say, look cute, smile.
That is true.
Yeah. Well, and they probably said, hey, just make sure you tweet about Hotcoin, and then we'll do the rest.
Good.
All right.
Spit on that name.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe you're starting to get me to come around a little bit on that.
By the way, I have an update on the United Healthcare CEO gunman.
Yeah.
I have an update.
Ooh.
You want an update?
Yeah, we got update.
I already have an update. And we're
an
only
update
20
after
minutes.
the break?
Yeah.
I already saw just from earlier today, there's been a bunch of developments.
Yeah. So we'll get to that next. Here's Buck.
This is Big Ten Championship Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Week 14 in the NFL is kicking off tonight with the Lions hosting the Packers on Thursday Night Football. They are nearly at halftime, and Jared Goff has just snuck one in for a touchdown, giving the Lions a 17-7 lead going into the half, PAT pending. Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams has earned NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors after his 92-yard pick six and a pair of sacks against the Jets on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Duck Bucky Irving wins NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors after racking up 185 total yards in Tampa's win over the Panthers. On the college gridiron, UCLA Bruins have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after just one season with the program, though Bieniemy's agent says that he's leaving the college ranks on his own accord. In surprising baseball news, the currently residing in Sacramento Athletics have signed pitcher Luis Severino to a 3-year, $67 million deal. It is the largest guaranteed contract in A's franchise history. And down in Eugene, Oregon baseball coach Mark Wasikowski has signed a 3-year contract extension. He's now under contract with the Ducks through 2029. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Hey, sports fans, if you're not calling John Anthony, you're simply missing out. To prove it, I'm released.
possible.
You know, he probably.
Well, it is amazing that like all the video and like the photos they have of like you can't go anywhere nowadays without being recorded.
Well, and he clearly did not care about it. He didn't care. There was a lady standing right next to Brian Thompson when he shot him.
Well, but that may be in one of those. How else do you get to him?
Right,
You
that
know?
was his one opportunity. Got to
Like,
take it regardless.
You know, if you're not like a trained assassin or whatever, the easiest time to kill someone is just they're standing on a sidewalk.
But I mean, even if that's the scenario and you really don't want to get caught, maybe just follow him a little bit further and wait until the lady's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I don't know. There was just no ever anywhere. It seems like other than the mask, there was never really an attempt to hide it. He has a hoodie up and a mask, and that's it.
Well, I don't know. The fact that he didn't leave on a vehicle that could be traced. I mean, it was the bike that. And other than pulling his face mask down, if he didn't do that at the hospital, would we have any idea? It seemed like it worked pretty well.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Buck on this one. I mean, we got a couple.
It's weird saying it. I think he did a good job.
Yeah, I mean the bus ticket, like
jerk.
Well, and they're saying
for what he was trying to do,
and they're saying the hostel they like he used a license that wasn't his. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll be interested. It sure feels like they've got a lot of information. Like the bus terminal thing is fascinating. So they just were able to go back and how did they in such a short period of time find out that this dude came in from a bus from Atlanta?
Maybe he said that or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you go and look for him at the bus station.
Yeah.
Maybe she saw a bus ticket or something, and you look for him on the bus videos. I don't know. This is what the investigators do, man.
I guess it always goes to show you, no matter what, there's always a paper trail, right? But
Brian?
I mean, there is video of him. I guess but he went to Central Park, which is smart because, you know, there's all these still photos of him riding the e-bike away because again, there's security cameras everywhere. But I'm guessing in the middle of Central Park is probably a good place to disappear. But then, of course, you have to leave Central Park again, which means they're going to scour that. And basically, this whole video camera, like anywhere you go, you are on camera. Think about how many cameras, if you are, no matter where you're at in a major city, I do not think you can walk a block without being on a security camera.
And that's just the thing is, none of that matters until someone's looking for you. When no one's looking for you, it doesn't matter that you're on camera all the time. But now, he probably is hooped because this city has him all over the place, you would think.
Yeah. Have you seen there's so many things popping up. Have you seen now the masks that you can wear over your face with a hoodie? Dude, it's pretty
Those
creepy.
are scary.
It's just like a hood that you put on. And
well, it's like when you would see the henchman with like the pantyhose over the face to kind of blur it, but it has an image of a human face.
Yeah, and it actually looks, and they were saying like in this case, if you put one of these like pantyhose things on over your head and then you put a hood up,
no one's ever telling who you really are.
It looks, from just a bystander, you just look like a person with a hood up. I mean, there's some.
Is that should that be legal?
I don't know. Hopefully, this is not like a, like a trend or whatever. It's kind of spooky to think about. Some CEO dude pissed off the wrong person. I mean, the fact that he wrote that on the bullets, dude, this is not a random thing. You pissed off.
I thought that
the
was
wrong
sensationalism at the start. I didn't even think I should believe that was true, but
no, it's definitely not random. You know, he lived in Maple Grove, Minnesota. That's where the CEO guy, Brian Thompson, that's where he lived.
That's where he lived.
And apparently they're now saying that bomb threats were made to homes owned by him after the killing.
Interesting.
The plot thickens.
Plot does thicken. Someone's saying they caught the guys that bombed the World Trade Center all those years ago because they tried to get the deposit back from the van they used in the bombing. Not all these criminals are masterminds. Valid point.
That's true.
Like Aaron Hernandez, it is shocking how many times people leave behind just massive trails of evidence. But I just think nowadays with the cameras, it's hard. Because I always had that thought that if you just randomly walked up to a person's house, kicked in their front door, went in and did whatever and left. Dude, as long as you don't have a connection to that person, how on earth could you be caught? But think about how many Ring cameras and everything that you have to walk by, drive by, they just, I think it's really hard to get away with stuff now without at least having a pretty good trail of evidence. Where I felt like back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, as long as you weren't there when they showed up to get the body, you were fine.
Those were the days.
Yeah, they had people that would there were people that would leave like blood, hair, and semen behind a crime scene, and they're like, well, nothing we can do about this. Look at all this big pile of stuff.
But they'll catch you in 50 years.
50 years. Yeah.
When you're hanging out in an apartment in L.A.
Yeah.
with cash in your wall.
Yeah. Old Whitey. Well, I mean, they've caught a bunch of rapist murderers, decades after the fact because of that.
Yeah, just because of the technology getting better.
Yeah, you get some dude that's like 20, and like wasn't there one where someone's daughter went in to like do a 23andMe or something like that, and that's how they made the connection.
That was one of the recent ones where the database
Yeah.
ended up helping them find the person who'd been the perpetrator.
All right, we got to get out of here. Let's wrap it up next on The Fan.
Oregon Ducks football is on The Fan.
Third and goal from the 3. Gabriel.
give a big old giant salute to my man Kaz.
Oh, he's out there, huh?
We've had him on before. He's my fighter pilot buddy. He is retiring. That will be his final flight tomorrow.
Get right the hell out of town.
Morning. I think they leave about 8:45. So if you see him, give him a salute.
I will.
Will he be able to see me giving him the salute?
Yes. He's going to be looking for you.
Nice.
You specifically. And, yeah, he's flying, and then he's going to retire. We're going to be out there for his retirement party. And it'll be his final flight. We get to go watch him, take off, which is kind of badass.
That's cool.
And then he's going to go be he's going to be flying your jetliner.
Oh, he's going to be a commercial pilot, huh?
Yep.
Do we know who for yet?
I want to say Delta.
I was hoping he'd go to be an instructor at Top Gun.
Yeah.
It's what the cool ones would do.
He's out.
Yeah.
He's going to go make that pilot money.
Big old pilot money. At least he's not flying for like Spirit or something, right? One of the good ones.
Yeah, I think it's Delta.
That's my new brother-in-law's plan, too, when he's done in the Air Force, is commercial.
Yeah. Why not?
Well,
you can fly a plane. Why don't you do it?
Exactly.
Somebody going to pay you to do it?
Seems like kind of a waste to spend 20 years learning a skill like flying a plane and then be like, you know what? I feel like doing something else.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, he does cargo jets, so he's like, what's the difference? Commercial jetliner, like big planes? Let me go.
Gold jacket, green jacket.
Exactly.
Who gives a rip?
Yeah. My stepbrother was a pilot in the Air Force, and he flies drones now. So
Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a
cowardly drones.
By the way, we got an update on the guy Vlad, who came face-to-face with the great white shark out there.
Vlad the Impaler.
My shark bro.
Yeah, they said that this is from Fishing Guy from the text line. Apparently, Vlad is legit. He has a YouTube channel, and he can free dive up to 100 feet down.
Dang.
With no tank. His YouTube channel is Big Water Guy, and he posts pretty good fishing and gear recovery content.
Really big water?
Dude, that blows my mind.
And apparently he wasn't that far out. He was out by the Rock at Pacific City.
Okay.
It's about a mile out.
But he can go down
and he's got a hot wife.
Of course he does.
Apparently.
People that do that, like that blows my mind.
And his handle is Big Water Guy.
Big water. Ocean water.
He's down there with great whites. He's like, whatever. He's swimming.
Well, he did swim away.
I love cows.
I certainly would hope so. I don't think you swim closer.
Well, some people,
Yeah, let's
jump on the back of
go
the...
check out and see what... No, I don't think that's the way that works.
Ride it. See where it takes you. Maybe back to the great white shark
I
den.
think it takes you to Valhalla is where that takes you.
All right.
Hell of a way to go.
Andrew Nemec coming up next. We are back tomorrow. Actually, I'm out. I'll see you Monday, but Sook's back tomorrow. Joey Harrington, part of the show. 3 to 7 on the Fan. Good night.